This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
And the pitch is swung on, hit the right field, hit deep. Whitefield going back at the track, over his head, and over the wall. Do you believe that?
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Ramirez with a drive to deep right, away back, goal!
Go Hayes! Hits a bomb out there by the Rocks. And boy, oh boy, this third inning is now showtime.
It is a Judgian blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to spin rates to game-changing moments. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us next from the town, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a Monday edition. It will now be a World Series edition of A's Cast Live as we are down to our final two. Just think about it. Think about how this whole thing started and where we are today. How this journey, how it evolves, how we go month after month after month, day after day after day to get to just this, the final two. And it's been a long journey when you really think about it. You know, it started with a lockout. It started with us not being able to do anything. No games, no practices, no spring training. Just meetings, players union, owners. We learned a lot about both sides, and neither side looked very good. Actually, really awful. And still, in my opinion, I think if you really, really followed it, the players, like badly. I mean, you already expect the owners, but the owners, you know, it's their businesses. They paid for it. It's their businesses. They can run their businesses the way they want, but just, you know, the players, which I brought back to everybody, this great postseason that we've had, this tournament, this true tournament style, players didn't want it, or really the agents didn't want it because they thought it would keep the owners from going for it, free agency, spending more money. Yeah, they care more money about spending in the regular season than entertaining you in the postseason. Unbelievable. So we started with that. Then we got into the season, shortened season, and bam, it was a ton of games, right? I mean, it felt like, you know, we were playing more games than days. I mean, we had a stretch of 17. We had a few stretches of 16. And was just a really bizarre, awful season for the A's, no question. I mean, the whole season was strange, right? I mean, Bob Melvin's gone. A lot of the players are gone. Sean Manaea traded right in front of our eyes at spring training. And then you go through this long year of 64 different players, new manager, new coaches. And then, you know, we watch, you know, there's the teams at the bottom, but then there's the teams that excel. And I can't wait to read you some of the stuff I went back. Old Townie went back and did some homework. Let's remember what people were saying back in the day. I cannot wait to give you that today, but I can't start on that. I got to start on this journey. And then we finally get to the postseason. And we learn once again. You just got to get in. And people don't like hearing that. You want to go in as really the Dodgers. You want to go in as this powerhouse juggernaut. You look unbeatable. That we dominate the regular season, dominate the postseason, and win the World Series, and that's how you do it. Versus just get in. I don't care how you get in. I don't care how it happens. Just get in. Because all this stuff, I can tell you, these notes that I have on the Yankees, that it's going to floor you, the stuff that was being said about them. This is all from June. They come out with all these notes and all these stats and all this stuff about how great these teams are. They do it throughout the year, but once you get in the postseason, none of it matters. Everybody's record is the same. And I know when you say that, people go, eh. Right, Cody? They go, eh. What does that really mean? Everybody's record's the same. Everybody's stats are at 0. But the reality is, whether you're the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Warriors, the Sixers, name a football team that just gets in, name a hockey team, in the postseason, when you get into a tournament, take the NCAA tournament. The only place we don't have this is college football. College football, you really just you've got the top teams at the end. They pick them. They put them in bowl games. You're going to have a BCS championship game. There's not yet. It's going to get to it. We're hearing, I don't know, it's going to be the top 8, top 10, top 12, however they end up doing it. They're going to have X amount of teams, and they'll play more of a tournament style. But everywhere else, I mean, when you get March Madness and you're number 1 Kansas, Cody, and we don't even have 64 teams because we now got all these play-in games. There's only like, 67, 68 teams. All the stuff you do during the regular season doesn't matter.
Yeah, 68 teams, by the way, for the
68
tournament.
Jeez.
Yeah, then they play the play-in games. Then it goes on to 64. Then obviously 32, 16, 8-4, and the national title game. And you're right about college football. I think the rumor is they were thinking about.
Is it 8?
I think it was I thought it was going to be a 12-team maybe playoff in a few years. They were throwing around.
Oh, give me 16, my friend. It'll be 16 before you know it.
And you mentioned the BCS when it was the BCS. There was always there wasn't always, but there was that team every once in a while, like a Boise State to beat Oklahoma in a BCS bowl game. Like that was great. Now it's all
Boise beat Oklahoma at the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, Statue of Liberty played Jared Zabransky. You look at now the college football playoff. It's it's going to be Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, and probably Clemson are going to be the 4 teams that get in. Now Clemson's struggling this year, but every year it's usually those 4 teams or some variation of those 4 teams that are in the college football playoff.
Now the formula works. People love it. Gets big ratings. I love college football, and not taking anything away from them, but what we're getting is more of a tournament style. And if this taught us anything, it's just get in. Just get in. And I know in the past when, we're going to be the wild card team 2 years in a row, 97 wins. We would have callers call up and they would say, man, I'm tired of being the wild card team. But, we're not going to win. And, of course, the A's didn't win the 2 games, obviously, against the Yankees and Tampa. But what Philly's showing you and what other wild card teams have shown you, the very first, I don't even know where the hell is the Rally Monkey? The first ever, what'd I do with the Rally Monkey?
I think he's in the shark.
Hold on.
He's in the shark.
Hold on. That's right. He is in the shark. You can't see it. The very first ever wild card team. How this guy got created. Brought to you by Custom Logos. CustomLogos.com, San Diego, California. Who even knows if they're still in business? This is the original Rally Monkey. And they were the first team. It was them and the Giants in 2002?
Yeah, 2002.
That 2 wildcard teams faced off in the World Series. And, of course, the Angels won. And they were the first wildcard team to win it. No, that's not true. The Marlins were the first wildcard team to win it. 97?
Yeah, 97.
But they were the first 2 wildcard teams to play in the World Series against each other. It's just get in. And so here you have 2 teams that we will watch game 1. If you're listening on A's Cast, God bless you. Thank you for listening. If you're watching on Twitter or you're watching on YouTube, look below. We will be having a watch party, game 1 of the World Series at the Chicken Pie Shop in Walnut Creek. We'll be there from 1 to 5. First pitch is, what is it, 5:05?
They still haven't said it, but I'm just going to assume it's going to be like 5:08, somewhere in there.
Which I was thinking about it yesterday, like going, okay, I honestly thought one of the teams would win. Like, this wouldn't go out this fast. This is fast. This is a sweep and one win by the team that lost in the National League. I mean, out of the Yankees and Padres, if you're going to tell me they're only going to combine to win one game in the league championship series, I would have bet against that. I think anybody would. I mean, seriously. Two teams, pretty damn good. Obviously, the Padres are hot. They slayed the dragon that is the Dodgers to them. You're thinking they'd win one, this game goes 6 or 7. I mean, you had to, even though our buddy Himbo from ESPN called it a sweep. I mean, really, it's unbelievable that we got only one win by the losers in the league championship series to now set us up for day off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You want to talk about having too much time off? Man, these guys got too much time off. And thank God that I don't know what the weather looks like going forward, but right now, I mean, I was watching MLB Central this morning, and they're like, the weather is still bad. They're like, they're lucky they got that game in. Robert Flores, who formerly at ESPN, now one of the hosts of MLB Central, he was like, as a Yankee fan, I was hoping it got rained out because I knew it'd be raining again today. And then now you can come back and you can have Garrett Cole again. I mean, they were trying to play, how do we come back from down 3-0? They needed weather to get their best guy back out on the mound. I thought it was interesting, but hopefully we're not going to have weather problems because it was raining in Philly too. This is what happens when you're going to have teams in the East Coast in the Fall Classic, and it truly is the fall. And Game 7 is scheduled for November 5th. It's cold, man. It's going to be really, really cold, and who knows how bad the weather is. Quickly, this is what we got going today. From NBC Sports in Philly, Jim Salisbury will join us at 1:30. They're rocking, man. You're looking at the stadium. That place is like exploding constantly. They don't lose at the bank. I mean, Philly, we're going to get into it. Philly, like I've said, it factor, feel like that summer ball team, that all-star team that comes together, and then whammo, they're unbeatable. They feel that way. They got energy. Bryce Harper, what he's doing. You want your superstar to be all in. You want that guy that you invested all that money in to be all in. And every single time he does something, is he going Keenan Allen, the former Cal wide receiver? Is Keenan Allen still in the league?
Yeah, he's on the Chargers.
Is he still there?
Yeah, he's there.
He's never left.
Nope, he's still there. He's probably still their best wide receiver, too.
Is he still doing this?
Yes.
Yeah. What does Bryce Harper do?
Same thing. But Harper is just...
He does completely the opposite.
Harper's just on a whole nother level popularity-wise right now.
No. That's not what I'm talking about.
Oh.
Keenan Allen is going like this. Why is he going like this?
He's pointing the name on the back. Harper points the name on the front.
Harper's doing this. Everything is Philly, Philly, Philly. That's what makes Bryce Harper. When you're 300 and 330,
yeah,
13 years. When you're 13-year, $330 man is all in, and he's playing like a 12-year-old, who's not getting on board? Who's not getting on board? When the highest paid guy, your star player, is going Philly, always about Philly. This is our house, Philly. Players, coaches, managers, front office, the town, everybody in the building, everybody in the city. When your star player is all in and he's about you, he's about us, he's about community, and that's what he's talking about. Bryce Harper does not talk about himself. Bryce Harper talks about everybody else. He's about the journey. He's like a 12-year-old at Williamsport playing in the World Series. the Little League World Series. That is what that's the essence of these guys. He's their leader. My God, I saw this today, and I know I'm getting off track here, and I do want to promote Chicken Pie Shop Friday, our watch party, 1 to 5. We will be there, going to have all kinds of specials. We're going to have gifts. We're going to have all kinds of stuff going on, and then we're going to watch the World Series together. Bryce Harper, I saw this morning. Bryce Harper, highest career postseason slugging percentage, minimum of 100 at-bats. He's up there with the all-time guys. Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Randy Arozarena, Lenny Dykstra, Bryce Harper, and Giancarlo Stanton. So far, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs, 907 slug in 11 games this postseason for Bryce Harper. When your main guy is all in, man, it's a powerful thing. Who did we have like that in our playoff run? Did we have anybody like that? We had teams that were better than this Philly team. We never had it factor. We never had the it factor. Never. Did we have any? Now, I would say 12, 13, 14, guys like Cespedes, guys like Donaldson, guys like Gomes. We had guys that were all in then. We got beat by a really good Tiger team. And the Royals were going to win the World Series anyway. I mean, they'd go on, play in the World Series, should have won it, and then win it the next year. So it's not the A's didn't chump out in 12, 13, or 14. They didn't chump out. Who in the wild card, the 2 wild card games? Who was that guy? Who was our Bryce Harper? We didn't have anybody. We didn't have that guy that was the captain that's telling us, our house, this is Oakland, this is the A's, this is us, this is it, We didn't have that. Did we have that? Was I missing something?
No, you're not. And I don't know if you saw this. This is tying in with Bryce Harper. Hembo tweeted this, and then I thought about it, but because he didn't qualify it since I looked last, but he said that Harper is the first $300 million player to reach the World Series. Now, Mookie Betts signed the extension, so is he talking about Harper as a free agent $300 million player? Either way, that's still remarkable that he's the first guy to reach the World Series. It
sounds like a technicality. I will be with you on that. That could be. We don't even know when did the extension kick in for Mookie Betts.
That's a good question.
So like the extension could kick in last year or this year. I don't know. I mean,
he had that really high raise in arbitration, so maybe he was making that in 2020. Then it kicked in. But he signed that deal before the World Series. But yeah.
So Himbo could technically be right.
Yeah, no, I know. I was saying it's so crazy that he's the first $300 million player that signed a deal to be in the World Series. That just shows you what you've been saying forever, that these contracts never really work out.
Well, what do we have? We have Trout, we have Tatis, we have Lindor, and we have him.
Yeah, and Mookie now.
And Mookie now.
Oh, Stanton.
Which maybe Mookie never qualifies because it's an extension. Then you know what? Trout wouldn't qualify because his is an extension.
Yeah, same with Stanton. Stanton was an extension with the Marlins.
So if we're saying guys that signed $300 million contracts, because I this is boring. This is really boring. I get it. But when you blend those deals, like Trout already had a deal. Trout signed a deal for like $100 million. Remember that? Or he signed an extension. It was like $100 million. Yeah, that $100 million got married into this $400 million thing. Mookie Betts' deal got married in. Those deals got married in versus, and as of right now, I don't even know if Tatis Jr. is even on that deal yet. Or he's not, or he may be in the infancy of it where they're paying him nothing early and it's all backloaded. I don't know. But if we're just going by signing $300 million contracts, you'd have Harper, you'd have Lindor.
Yeah, that's well, even Lindor was an extension because he got traded to the Mets. It's just like Mookie. So Harper, yes. Yeah, so
free agent yet.
Lindor was.
Who cares? Whatever Hembo put, he obviously researched it. It's the
point.
Yeah, there's not. By the way, have you noticed what I'm wearing today?
The old school A's jersey, yes. from the 70s.
Who am I?
Joe Rudy.
Somebody that out of all the 70s guys, I know him really well. And not Ray Fosse. Ray Fosse doesn't count. We're taking Fosse off the board.
Vita
Out of
Blue.
all the 70 guys, yeah, that's my guy. I got Vita going today. I was cleaning out my closet. I realized I got way too much golf stuff, and I found my old Vita Blue. I've known Vita Blue since the 90s. I did stuff when I was on KMBR with the great Vita Blue. Did I just move the desk? I've known Vita for a long, long time. Done TV with him back in the Fox Sports, Comcast Sports Net days. I've known Vita for a long time. He's always been really good to me. I'm repping my guy Vita Blue today, the MVP Cy Young Award winner and one of the coolest baseball players in the history of the game. All right, back to what we got going. We got Jim Salisbury coming up here at 1:30 from NBC Sports Philly. The great Larry Bowa, 1980 World Series champion with the Phillies, managed the Phillies, and was a great shortstop. Larry Bowa at 2 o'clock. Roxy Bernstein at 2:30. Randy Miller from New Jersey Advanced Media covers the Yankees. Who are they connected to? What paper? Because remember, like, the SF Chronicle is SF Gate.
They are
they Post or they Times? Or they're New Jersey, what is it?
Yeah, let me look.
The New Jersey something.
It just says on their website, New Jersey Advanced Media is a data-driven marketing agency and the #1 provider of local news in New Jersey.
Yeah, they were the New Jersey. They had a funky name. I mean, those papers have been around since, 17.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been around forever.
What's funny about Randy is he was the guy a few years ago that had the report that Bryce Harper was going to sign with the Giants. And now
that worked out.
Now we can talk to him about what's going to happen with Aaron Judge. So
what's great about this World Series, and to kind of wrap this up, the journey from where we were in a lockout to where we're down to 2 is Philly has shown us once again that no matter what happens in this grind, no matter how bad it gets, they lost 13 of 16 at one point in September. They were Michael Jackson moonwalking into the playoffs. They were Deion Sanders backpedaling into the playoffs. Just get in. Just get in. Just get in and believe. And who are the Houston Astros? By the way, I don't. They're so arrogant that they just don't know how bad they look and they don't care. That when we get to this time of year and we're truly having to deal with East Coast media, everything is East Coast media. What we see on FS1, what we see on TBS, what we see on MLB Network, what we see from all these guys. They literally embarrass themselves with this narrative. You know what? This Houston Astros team's pretty good. I mean, it's like every year. When they don't watch our games. They don't. We're just a box score. We're just notes to them. That's all we are. Like in our good years, they got no idea who our players are. They have to follow the Dodgers because the Dodgers were historic this year. You think they really knew much about the Padres? They don't know about the West Coast teams. They just don't. And Houston is obviously a Southwest team. And these guys at the end of the year, they go, you got to give them credit. I mean, you heard this multiple times the last couple of days. You got to give them credit. They're a really good team. Where the hell have you been? Yeah, we know they're a really good team. We've had to deal with these you-know-whats. We know exactly how good they are. Nothing's changed. They've moved players in, moved players out. They are phenomenal. There's nothing they can't do. And it's like every October, these people on the East Coast are shocked by it. Did you notice that at all the last couple of days?
I mean, I've always noticed the quote-unquote East Coast bias, but it's even worse now with Houston because people just don't understand how they've been so good, and it's through drafting and international signings. And, yeah, they made 14 trades to make their team good, but it's majority through drafting and international signings. 4 of their 6 starting pitchers are international signings. So, but they're not paying attention to that. It's all about the Yankees, maybe the Mets, Yankees, Red Sox.
Like the these guys are like shocked. I'm like, oh God, here you go again. Houston has won 13 of 18 postseason games against the New York Yankees. 13 of 18. I mean, that'd be one thing if that was football and that was all these years. This is baseball. This is a lot of consecutive games. They've dominated these guys. And yet you still got these guys on the East Coast going, man, it's hard to believe, but the Astros. Hey, to everybody who does not pay attention to the AL West, the Astros are really good. We're not shocked by it. We get to see it year after year after year. Then they got Verlander back, and you're like, oh my God, it's amazing how they have no idea really what's going on in the rest of the sport outside of the Northeast. Hell, I don't even know if they really knew much about the Phillies. They're so concentrated. I mean, it was Mets, it was Yankees. The Red Sox were kind of off the radar this year. Unbelievable. But go ahead.
I was going to ask you, the Astros were swept one time this entire season. They won 106 games. Who swept them?
That would be your Oakland Athletics.
That's correct. The team that had 7. The A's won more games this year against the Astros than the Yankees did. It just shows the Yankees are owned by them.
I was there. I saw it.
Yeah, that was what was it, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday series that they were Steph Curry throughout the first pitch too.
Okay, so I've got a lot of stuff to get to. Coming up next, we're going to have Jim Salisbury from NBC Sports Philly. Philly is a great story. Dodger fans, oh my God, the whining. I'm going to prove to you how pathetic Dodger fans are. I think we're going to have fun with that. How pathetic are Dodger fans based on the evidence? We're going to give you flat evidence. We're going to give you evidence about Major League Baseball and the Yankees, how ridiculous the coverage is. I have the game notes from when we played them in June. What they were saying about the Yankees in June and watching how they went out. We will get into that. And we're going to have to give props to Dusty Baker and the Houston Astros. It's tough to do, but and then I want to talk about, I don't know if we do this today, Judge and Soto. Aaron Judge was horrible. Again. Like, regular season, so much is paid to the regular season. I'm wondering now that if our playoffs expanding, before everybody, they acted like that was an albatross. It's the postseason. Billy Bean, it's a crapshoot. Now everybody calls it a crapshoot. The fact that we're playing more games than ever before in the postseason, we're really starting to look how people perform in the postseason. Are we going to judge them on that? Soto was terrible. Judge was terrible. We're going to get into all of that, but we're heading to Philly. Yes, the great state of Pennsylvania. Philadelphia, phenomenal. I love Philly. A lot of fun. Cheesesteaks are phenomenal. We're heading to Philly next, right here on A's Cast Live.
Secure your seats for our 1973 team reunion celebration on Sunday, April 16th with our 73 flash sale presented by Budweiser.
The Oakland A's have won their second consecutive World Series championship.
From October 21st to the 25th, tickets will be available at 1973 regular season prices for $5.50. Don't miss out. Visit athletics.com/flash sale today. That's athletics.com/flash sale.
The Eno Sarah Show is sponsored by Fieldwork Brewing Company. With 8 taproom locations in Northern California, Fieldwork brings you fresh craft beer direct from the source. Fieldwork will also ship beer direct to your door if you live in California. Visit fieldworkbrewing.com.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
The general manager of the Green and Gold, David Force, stopped by A's Cast Live and discussed the growth of Seth Brown in 2022.
From where he came a couple of years ago, and I remember having conversations about whether we thought he might end up going to Asia to play and not get a chance to establish himself here. He really took a step forward on the field. You saw it in the power, you saw it in his versatility, playing first base and outfield. And then, we really saw it in the clubhouse. I think if you ask Kotz right now, the guys coming back, who are the guys that set the tone in there? And that's not always the most vocal guy or sort of the most rah-rah, but the guys who work hard, who can sort of silently lead other guys. Seth has to be at the top of that list. And I don't think anybody would have said that a year or two ago. So it's been fun to watch where he got to at the end of the season.
To listen to the full interview and much more, go to athletics.com/A'sCast.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
The Oakland Athletics begin spring training on February 25th. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine with your family and friends. Buy your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your Green and Gold take on the Giants, Dodgers, Padres, Angels, and more at Hohokam Stadium.
And Tony, it's a deep drive to right in the corner. Gritchick going back. He'll turn and watch it fly.
Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is a national brand with family-owned prices and service. You can shop at one of their Barrie locations, and all stores are sanitized and safe, or you can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you'll get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
A's Cast Live continues from the town. Here's Chris Townsend.
I'm excited. I can't believe we got to wait. And really, too, what we'll get into today, don't forget, we got our watch party this Friday coming up. That'll be at the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. You can see it on the screen if you're listening. 1251 Arroyo Way, Walnut Creek. We will be there, the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Bunch of TVs, drink specials. Last Dive Bar is going to be there. Bip Roberts, Eno Saris. Who else we got? We got Dave Feldman. We're going to have all kinds of big-time celebrities showing. Cody's going to be there. Someone made a meme of you, by the way.
Oh, you mean the GIF of me on the field? Yeah, I've seen it.
GIF?
Yeah, I've seen it.
I don't know how. I think someone sent it to me.
Yeah, probably Brian from Last Dive Bar. That's who sent it to me. And it's been used on Twitter a good bit now. So I guess I finally made it. If I have a GIF made over about me, so
will you sign the A's helmet?
I can if you need me to. Yeah, I think I have a Sharpie in my backpack. But let me.
Isn't it funny when you look at our setup, like all the stuff that we have and all the stuff I don't even display, it's still the helmet that like all the guests that come on, they love the helmet because it makes them think of baseball when they were kids. It was Buster Olney. It says it makes them think of the 70s. He was a Dodger fan. It makes him think of the World Series. I don't even know what year this was. Ross, Dress for Less?
Well, yeah. Well, Ross, I mean, yeah.
Dude, this is old. This is well before you showed up.
Well, I'm going to give Jim Salisbury a call. By the way, I reached out for Buster Olney this week, too, so hopefully we can get him.
Oh, my man, Buster. He wrote a great tweet about Dodgers whining and what do you want? I'm going to tell you, it is unbelievable that Dodger fans are complaining. I'll just give you an idea. The Dodgers beat the Padres by 22 games in the West. Manhandle them. They've owned them for years. But against the Mets this year, they had a losing record. So there's no way Dodger fans would have said before this whole thing happened that they would have said, oh, yeah, give me the Mets with DeGrom and Scherzer versus the Padres, who you've kicked there you-know-what. Unbelievable. We have Jim on the line from Philadelphia. Jim, how are you? Welcome to A's Cast Live. I don't hear him, Cody.
Okay, let me call him back. He was there, and then I don't know what happened. Let me give him a call back.
Yeah, how about that? The Dodgers on the season were only 3-4 against the Mets. They had gone.
No,
yeah. Jim, are you there?
He left again. I don't know what's going on here. He was there, but he dropped again. Very strange.
I was giving him that. Maybe he didn't like my Dodger knowledge there. The Dodgers against the Padres were 14-5. Against the Mets, they were 3-4. So Buster Olney came out with this idea. I don't know where I found this on a Dodger website. This time of the year, I do so much research, and I'm just always on my computer looking at stuff to bring you guys so you don't have to look at this stuff and to entertain you. And he put out this tweet about, kind of like, well, what do you guys want? I mean, now that we look at how this thing is played out, maybe we should, if you're the number one seed, get your chance to pick your path. So you could have sat there as the Dodgers. Season ends, last day of the year, October 5th. We'll give you till midnight. Game ends. Everybody's game was played at 1 o'clock. Well, 1 o'clock our time, but everybody started at the same time. You've got from the end of the game till midnight to pick your path. Be an interesting idea. Or you can do it the next day. Would have been Thursday because the last day of the year was a Wednesday. So they would have had a chance to pick their path, the Dodgers. And now that you look at it, do you think now that we know, now that we've been able to live through this, do you think they would have picked the Philadelphia Phillies, who were the last seed? You think the Dodgers would have wanted that? I don't think so. I mean, now that we've seen this it factor in the Philadelphia Phillies, I don't think anybody would have wanted to play the Phillies. Now, the Dodgers, one of the only teams they had a losing record. They might have been the only team they had a losing record against this year was the Mets. Are they picking the formula, give me the Mets? Everybody was so afraid of Scherzer and DeGrom and Bassett. Or do you think, yeah, we'll take the Padres. We'll take that route. Because basically, if we're saying this, okay, Dodgers, you're the number one seed after October 5th, game's over, we're going to give you a day, 24 hours, whatever you want to call it. You can pick your route. You want to take on the winner of Braves-Philly, or do you want to take on the winners of Mets-Padres? Now, obviously, they were getting Mets-Padres. And out of Mets and Padres, I've just given you the numbers. They were only 3-4 against the Mets, but 14-5 against the Padres. Who do you think the Dodgers would have chosen? They got exactly what they wanted, and they tanked. They went out like chumps. Do you think that Dodger brass would have said, I don't think that Philly is going to beat Atlanta. So do you think they want to take on Atlanta, the team that knocked them out of the playoffs last year? Are we just no-go on Jim?
I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the call system. I don't know what's the issue. I told him to call back, and then he hasn't called back, and then I don't know. I'm still working through it.
All right. So should I just do the show?
Yeah. Let me see if I can figure this out.
So we got that, but I think that, and that's kind of where, I don't know whether we evolved to, and I thought Buster's tweet was great. How about to get rid of every naysayer that we got? Allow the team to pick their path. Wouldn't that be fascinating? Say, these are the seeds. This is how they line up. What bracket would you want to be in? And the other part of it was, I don't have to take the bye. You could immediately insert yourself into the postseason. And even though Buster said, obviously, every team's going to take the bye, but we're going to give you a choice because we don't want to hear you whine that you had time off. You've got a chance. We're going to line up the postseason. Let's see if I still have the grid. We're going to line up the postseason. Here, I got it in color. We're going to line up the postseason in the grid, right? As you can see there, if you can't see because you're listening on A's Cast, just think of the tournament and how everybody lined up. We're going to allow you to either insert yourself right away into a 3-game set or you get the bye. That way, there's no complaining. There's nobody. If you're the top seeds that lost, if you're one of these guys, if you're the Atlanta Braves, can't complain. If you're the LA Dodgers, you can't complain. You can't. Because you have your opportunity to not take the bye. You can actually select right away where you want to play. So the Dodgers could have implemented themselves immediately as the highest seed of the teams playing in the wild card that would immediately, you know what? That would have put them up against Philly. It would have been Philly. You'd step in for St. Louis. I know this sounds ridiculous, but that's where that's okay. If you're going to complain that you lost because you took time off, we're now going to give you the option just to keep playing. Say, we're hot. We want to play. No one would do this, by the way, but we're going to give you that option. So you could have given them the option to be either St. Louis or to be New York. You could have played a 3-game set at home against Philly or a 3-game set at home against San Diego to start the playoffs and never taken the time off. I have no idea what's going on. I'm just hearing weird stuff in my ears. Hopefully you're not hearing that. But wouldn't that be fascinating? If you had the number 1 seed go, you know what? We don't want to take that time off. We're rolling right now. Because the Dodgers, just to give you an idea, this is the notes from the last game of the year. Okay? They're taking on the Colorado Rockies. It says the Dodgers have one last chance to make their case as one of the best seasons ever. LA has won 110 games. Only the Mariners in 2001. All right. We're going to try Jim one last time. And hopefully we'll be able to talk to Jim in Philadelphia. Jim, are you there? No, Jim?
For some reason, he can't. I'm hearing him when he comes on, but you're not hearing him, and he's not hearing you. So I don't know what the issue is. And also, there's a fire alarm going off behind me in the building, so I think we might have to evacuate.
Panic!
So yeah, I think I am going to have to step out of the. So I don't know. I don't know what we can do.
You just keep me running.
Okay. All right. Well.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for everything you did today. No guest. No, you brought nothing to but now you're leaving the show and you're going outside. You're probably going to go to a food truck and hang out with all the A's employees.
I might also. I was going to try to restart my computer to make sure that would help the foot thing, but that'll kick you off the air too.
Wow, you're really a load of fun.
Well, I mean, there's nothing I can do. I don't know why our phone why it worked just fine. I mean, it didn't work Wednesday, then it worked Friday. Now it's not working again.
Well, technically, knowing that, having been in radio for many years when this happens, the show doesn't have to leave. So until someone tells you have to leave, you don't have to go.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, I'll stay in here.
And what you could do is, can Ruth do commercial? This is great programming. Can Ruth do commercials while you reset your computer?
Yes, but you'll be off the air as well.
That's fine.
Okay.
We got to correct this.
Yeah.
I want to talk to Larry Boa.
Let me let her know. I'll let her know. Hold on.
And I will get back into this whole. I think it could be a lot of fun. It'd be like it would be like something we've never seen before. It'd almost be like a selection show of, well, the problem would be no one would go the route that I'm talking about, but it would be pretty fascinating, wouldn't it, if we had a selection show and the Dodgers said, we want to keep going, man. Look, we're this historic team. We don't want to take the time off. Their run differential heading into the last day of the year was plus 329. The only teams better in the history of baseball.
Yeah, I have to evacuate. They just tapped on the door and told me I have to go.
All right. See you later.
Okay, so I need to restart the computer, so we're going to be off the air for a little bit.
No, why don't we'll just keep going.
Oh, okay.
See ya. All righty. So it's just you and it's me, and hopefully we're going to be on. We'll be just fine. But what I did last night is I went through some of the notes that were there throughout the year. And it made me think about how we cover this game. And when you look at where we are today, when we hear about the crapshoot versus what happens during the regular season. I don't know what the final numbers are, but the ratings have been really good, which is great for our game. Because that is something that, let's be honest, over the years has just been trending down, has been the ratings. And it's heartbreaking, right? It's heartbreaking that we hear all the time that, oh, this is the lowest World Series. This is the lowest this. This is the lowest that. And we can make excuses. Well, we're putting baseball on places that we really don't get a whole lot of baseball on. You don't go to TBS for baseball during the year, right? We do for FS1, but that's only unless you're hardcore and you're watching whatever they have on there. Like on a Saturday, or you're going to non-traditional places to watch the game. And then they throw the World Series on Fox. And unfortunately, the ratings just haven't been good. I don't know what it's going to be like this time around, but I know in the playoffs, there's been a lot of interest. The interest of having all these different teams, once again, to having this kind of bracket type deal has interest the public, because this is what we like. We like tournaments. We like tournaments in the NFL. We like tournaments in basketball. We like tournaments in hockey. We love the NCAA tournament. We love getting brackets. I mean, we had never really seen baseball in a bracket form. Clearly, bracket works. One of the things that generates the most money, generates the most interest, generates the most ratings is March Madness, college basketball. We love filling out the brackets and everybody gets it. And, before it was all online, you be at your office and everybody'd fill out the bracket and you put in $1, $5, winner would take third, you had third place, second place, everybody picked the final score. We love that stuff. And the more I end up looking at this for baseball, it's awesome. And we're starting to do that, and hopefully it's drawing more interest. And what we're doing is we're putting a premium on the postseason. Maybe like never before. And it's not going to go over at first. This is going to take some time, but it's not going to go over great with people in baseball. Postseason baseball has always been the icing on the cake. Where we are in baseball, everybody is built for the regular season. The regular season, if you heard Eno Saris, our national baseball columnist, last Friday, he had some really telling opinions. I would play some of that for you, but I can't because if you look to my left, Cody's gone because there's a fire drill. But I can tell you what Eno said. And it really dates back to the A's and Moneyball. When the A's would have their system, everybody's got their system. It used to be your system was how you developed and how players played. Now your system is using data. However you use data and technology, that's how you build your team. That's how you build your system. And so the A's built their system back in the day, and they kept floundering in the postseason. And just not losing. See, to me, the Atlanta Braves, through their long run, and I admitted this to Eno, who grew up in Atlanta, and he grew up a Braves fan. The Braves lost. They got there a lot, and they lost a lot. They only won one World Series. Played in the World Series multiple times. But the Braves, to me, never went out like chumps. They never went out like chumps. They battled. Great players. And they battled. They battled in these World Series. They battled against the Yankees. They battled. They came up short, but they didn't go out like chumps, like the Dodgers just did. Dodgers went out like chumps. And I think about the A's back in the day. Oh, slide Jeremy Giambi. They went out like chumps. Constantly the A's went out like chumps. They didn't come up big. No one came up big. They finally came up big in 2006 and then immediately got wiped out after that in the ALCS. And what was the conversation? The conversation was, it's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. Anything can happen. Well, if we would have had the commercials Captain Obvious back then, we could have said to Billy Bean, who I love to death, you know that, yeah, it's a crapshoot. Oh, yeah? Of course it is Captain Obvious. We already know that. The Super Bowl is a crapshoot. Right? The NBA Finals is a crapshoot. Life's a crapshoot. You get outside, you go in your car today, you go to the grocery store, it's a crapshoot. Everything's a crapshoot. You want to control this thing like it's a like it's a piece of paper and numbers on a piece of paper. That's not how it is with human beings. It may work with algorithms. It may work with your algorithm that your engineers put together at Amazon and Google and Apple. Yeah, well, you're not dealing with human beings. You're dealing with computers and algorithms. Man, I got people calling me. So they say, it's a crapshoot. We can't control it, which basically means my guys bowed out and all the things that we believe in the end didn't work. That's what the crapshoot means. And that's what a lot of teams feel like right now. You heard Eno Saris say, God, it's almost like we should have an award like hockey does, the President's Award, the President's Trophy, of awarding the team with the best record during the regular season. Because there's a team that's going to have the best record. There's a team that after this long season, 162 games, oh my God, month after month after month, you're traveling and all the hotels and all the mileage, all the different weather you play through. You play through rain, there's lightning, evacuate everybody. It's super hot, it's humid, it's dry, it's this, it's that. After all of that, one team that, and I got it right here, the notes from the last day of the year, the Dodgers. And what happens with these front offices is that they can control the regular season. They can, from a day-to-day basis, they feel they can script it out, that their technology that they rely on, their data, their information. So I know everything about my player, and I know everything about their player, and that would be the opposing team. And I know how to align my guys. Let's just take the Dodgers and the Rockies here, last day of the year. Dodgers come into this with 110 wins, and the Rockies are 68-93, while the Dodgers are 110-51. Dodgers would win this game. Clayton Kershaw's on the mound. It's his last start, potentially, as a Dodger in the regular season. And so all these notes are about Clayton Kershaw, the Dodgers. The Dodgers feel that, and we've learned a lot of this through Eno, which is great, that the Dodgers aren't just studying like splits. Okay, here's a left-handed batter, here's a right-handed pitcher. We're going to put up this guy versus these pitchers because of splits. There's much more to that. They're studying arm angles, the way the ball comes in versus the hitter, the way his bat comes through the zone, whether he's more flat through the zone, whether he's got more coming up, maybe he's got more of a launch angle. How do these guys – they're playing an ultimate game of matchups. And then they're giving their manager the information, a la Dave Roberts, that here's are the scenarios during the game. And if this happens, you do this. If that happens, you do that. They script out these games, and they're able to do that on a daily basis because it's much easier to do on a daily basis because everything, the numbers, the data always keeps lining up. Easier to do. And you don't really have days off. Days off come every once in a while. Take a breather, reset, boom. A lot of scripting going on. Postseason, that doesn't work because a lot of stuff comes at you in the postseason, like what you saw just yesterday. Ranger Suarez has to come in. You think that was on the script for Philadelphia? Nope. See, these front offices, a lot of them, and I hate to say this and I hate to paint with this big brush here, but the reality is a lot of these front offices don't even watch the postseason. They don't even like the postseason because it goes against everything that they believe in and that they incorporate in the regular season. I know for a fact a lot of front office people don't watch the postseason. It's not like the NFL. Everybody in the NFL watches the NFL playoffs. Everybody watches the Super Bowl. Same thing in the NBA. You hear NBA people say, when you get to the NBA and now everybody's playing defense, this is the highest level of basketball on the planet, is the playoffs. Hockey people, man, hockey is a badge of honor to play in Lord Stanley's Cup playoffs, to play for the trophy, the cup, Lord Stanley. I mean, these guys play with broken legs, broken hands, shoulders, ligaments. I mean, they'll play with anything. Shoot me up to play in these playoffs. It's a badge of honor to play in the postseason in hockey. Baseball, I hate to tell you, I think a lot of our executives don't even like the playoffs. I don't think the World Series means to them what they kind of lead on to. I don't think the World Series in the end is what you try for, but are you back, Cody?
I am, but I need to maybe restart this computer to see if we can get the phone system working because, like I said, all of our guests besides Roxy are over the phone.
I'm going to say this I'm going to leave everybody on this. We got to talk Dave Dombrowski today. You know my love for Dave Dombrowski. He was the first GM I ever interviewed. I was so nervous. I always tell him this when I have him on. Dave has been great to me over the years. First time I interviewed Dave Dombrowski, who runs the president of baseball operations for the Phillies, he was with the Marlins. And I've interviewed him as a Tiger, Red Sox, I haven't done as a Philly. He's the first executive ever to take 3 teams to the World Series. Now it's 4. Dave Dombrowski is not like any of the other 29 guys, because Dave Dombrowski would sell his soul to win a ring. The rest of these guys, I don't think they would. Andrew Friedman wouldn't trade his number 1 prospect to win a World Series. I think the majority of the guys who are running the teams in our sport would not trade a top prospect to get a ring. They wouldn't take that gamble because the ring doesn't mean as much to them. They want to show you how smart they are with this long stability, God, I'm on a good roll right now. I was ready to go the whole show without you. You think I need you, Cody?
No, I know that.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Andrew Friedman for years is criticized for not trading people to help his team out because he was so worried about the long-term sustainability. There's no such thing as long-term sustainability with Dave Dombrowski because he wants to win the World Series. He'd sell his soul. He'd give his right arm to win the World Series when all these other guys who are into all their data wouldn't give up their second round, their second and third prospects. They wouldn't give up the collateral. They wouldn't give it up. Does that make sense? If you could literally get all 30 of the guys around, have them in separate booths, and truly question them about what would you do to win the World Series, a lot of them wouldn't give up. They wouldn't give up long-term sustainability to have the parade. Would you agree?
100%.
To where Dave Dombrowski would sell his soul to win a World Series. And that is the guy that I love. And that's why he wins. That's why he wins. Don't tell me about prospects. I want to win the World Series. That's why this man has taken 4 different organizations to the World Series. We'll get more into this. I think it's a fascinating conversation. All right. We will be back, hopefully with Larry Boa.
Yeah, hopefully.
Next, right here on A's Cast Live.
Secure your seats for our 1973 team reunion celebration on Sunday, April 16th with our 73 flash sale presented by Budweiser.
The Oakland A's have won their second consecutive World Series championship.
From October 21st to the 25th, tickets will be available at 1973 regular season prices for $5.50.
A's Cast Live continues from the town. Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, I've always told you that we are real and we tell you everything that's going on. So, what is our progress report for today's program? By the way, I got the A's mug going today. I got Vita Blue going today. We got our new sweet camera, by the way. I hope you've all enjoyed that. I mean, I can do all kinds of different stuff with that. I can zoom in. You see my Vita Blue jersey. Zoom out. I could be dangerous with this technology. What do you think, Cody?
I love that camera, and I think we're gonna have to bag our guests that are coming over the phone.
You're bagging the great Larry Boa? How dare you?
There's nothing I can do. He's not. I'm kind of stumped on this one. It's coming through everywhere else except for when we put it on the video.
By the way, we've added some old bobbleheads back. We said, you know what? It's been a year. We've had a season. So now everybody's kind of been, they've been gone for a while. So we brought back our old buddy Sean Doolittle. Remember the gnome we had rolling there? Chris Davis has made it back. Our old buddy Chris Davis. How about would you be shocked if he's back? Sean Manaea has made an appearance.
I would not.
No-hitter bobblehead.
Would not be shocked if he came back.
Yeah, he's a free agent.
I
would not.
Year, but
huh?
I don't know if it'll be next year, but I
why
I
not?
Back.
Why? He's a free agent. He pitched awful in San Diego. Why don't you think he could come back?
It's a fair point. I mean, he's not going to garner the money that he thinks he's going to. Well, not that he's thinking, but his agent thinks he's going to get in the free agent market because he
literally Sean Manaea was, and then of course yesterday, I mean he can't get out Bryce Harper, and Sean Manaea. I'm just going to go to just how bad was Sean Manaea in San Diego this year? Sean Manaea on a team that was one of the better teams in baseball was in a pitcher's ballpark. I don't think we're ever going to call Petco Park a hitter, and the way they hit, God, Padres were awful. He was 8-9 with a 4.96 ERA, basically a 5 ERA, 158 innings, only 156 strikeouts, gave up 29 bombs, walked 50 guys. Sean Manaea was not the Sean Manaea we know. I mean, look at his time in Oakland. Remember when he came back from that shoulder and he only pitched in 5 games? He was 4-0 with a 1.21 ERA, and we got that genius idea. Why would we start Mike Fiers when we can start Sean Manaea? And Sean Manaea starts the wild card game. How about 2018? He had a 3.59 ERA. I think you might have saw things. I mean, last year for the Athletics, 11-10 with a 3.91 in 32 starts. Some good, some bad. He actually had 2 complete games. But last year for San Diego at 30 years old, a 4.96 earned run average. Why not bring Sean Manaea back?
Then you can have another veteran lefty in the rotation to go along with
the left-handers. You could have Sears, Cole, Manaea, Waldichuk, Sears. Am I missing a lefty?
No, those are the main guys that started. The rest of the guys.
And then either Blackburn or Cap.
Yeah, the other lefty that started was Jared Koenig. And Zach Logue.
Okay, Koenig and Logue are not. If the Koenig or Logue's in our rotation to start the season, we're in trouble. I'm gonna go Cole, Manaea, Waldichuk, Sears, and we'll throw in I'll say Blackburn for now. But like we said, you're going to have 10 plus guys. You're going to have probably 12, 13 guys. Why not bring Sean Manaea back? He's comfortable here, loves it here. He's got that temperament of a player that works well in a place like Oakland. There's not a lot of pressure. There's not, you get to just be yourself. They allow you to be you, and you just go out and you rock and fire once every 5 days. If you have a bad start, you don't have 30 media members. Not that he had that in San Diego, but, it's like if he went to New York or he went to Philly or he went to Boston, or you'd have all these people in front of you. Hey, why do you stink? Why do you stink? Why do you stink? You don't have that in Oakland. It's a very player-friendly atmosphere that he obviously at times we did a bobblehead, a no-hitter bobblehead for him. Why not Sean Manaea back in Oakland? I could see that happening. I could totally see that happening. All right, what do I need to prepare? Because every single time I start doing something, you throw me a curveball. What do I need to prepare for today?
Roxy's coming up at 2:30. He's going to join via video, so we will have a guest via video.
All right, so I got Roxy, and that's it.
As of now, I'm trying to get our 3:30 guests to come on via video, so I'll keep you updated.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. One thing that I wanted to read you guys today, that I got to go back to what I sent Cody. I thought there was a really, really outstanding Twitter thread. Now I got to find it now. I have the picture. It's Brian Bannister at Real Banny. I'm going to find it for you because I want to highlight my guy, Dave Dombrowski, and tell you why this guy is pretty special, and he's going to the Hall of Fame. There is, when you talk about executives that, you talk about executives and everybody wants to put everybody in the Hall of Fame. There's certain people. I cannot find it now. I'm on his. When the hell did he put this thing out about Dave Dombrowski?
Let me go back and see if I can find it. I think Bannister still works. I think he still works for the Giants too, if I'm not mistaken. Is the director of pitching for the Giants.
For the San Francisco Giants?
Yeah, San Francisco Giants.
All right, I think I got it now. All right, after spending 5 years working directly for Dave Dombrowski, so this is a guy that works for the San Francisco Giants?
Yeah, that's what it said. I'm just confirming that he's
worked for the Red Sox. He won a World Series with the Red Sox. He's one of the pitching gurus, driveline guy. Let me give you his. Developing Elite Pitchers, 2018 World Champs, featured in MVP Machine, which is a great book. Co-founder of At Art of Baseball, plus At Loft 19.
Yeah, he's still with the Giants, according to SI, what I just found. He wasn't with the team this year, but apparently they retained him to come back next year, it looks like.
After spending 5 years working directly for Dave Dombrowski and winning the World Series with him in 2018, I think it's worth sharing why he's such a special baseball executive. I saw this and I read it yesterday, and I immediately sent this to Cody. And the reason why is because I think it has to do more than just baseball. I think this has to do with everybody, of what it is to be a leader. Dave Dombrowski is a great leader of men and really of women, of people. He's a great leader of people. And not everything is about your data. Not everything is the Houston Astros way. That's one of the things that we are going to go over the next couple days, is how different the Phillies are from the Astros. We know what the Astros have been about. The Astros are like a lot of these other teams, data, 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 data. Well, there's a lot of scouting going on. That's what the NLCS was. AJ Preller, who runs the Padres, they all have data. Don't kid yourself. They all have data. But some still, rely heavily on scouting. And that's the Padres and the Phillies. Here you go. Number one, he has a tremendous pulse on his organization. Dave is always present. He's in the manager's office, the coach's room. He's on every road trip. I can attest to that. If there's a fire to put out or something isn't working, he calls everyone together and finds a solution fast. Front office people do not travel with the team anymore. They used to always have somebody, GM, front office, assistant GM, somebody always traveled with the team. Somebody, in case something happens. Now, doesn't happen. Most teams, nope. We don't send anybody. Number 2, remember, Dave Dombrowski, the president of baseball operations, is on every plane with you. He's at every hotel. He's traveling with the team. Anything happens, the leader of the franchise is there to take care of business. That you want to talk leadership? Number 2, he responds to everything. You send him a letter, he always writes you back. You send him a text, he always texts you back. I've sent him texts throughout this postseason, even mid-game. He texts me back every time, usually within minutes. Number 3, he believes in blue-chip players. In today's analytical game, it's often about who wins the trade or money and war or other internal valuation metrics. Baseball teams have become very smart, but this can lead to a lack of trade liquidity, I should say. Always being patient, smart for trades, avoiding larger free agent contracts. It admittedly reduces career risk and public scrutiny, but by being willing to lose a trade slightly at times from a evaluation perspective, it often gives you access to special players. Dave believes that players with a proven track record have special qualities and will rise to the occasion, especially in the postseason. This occurred when we won the World Series in 2018. You think about the veterans he got that came up big, and it's occurring for the Phillies right now. Number 4, he hires talented people and allows them to do great things. We hired Cody. We allow Cody to do what Cody does. Sometimes we have no idea what Cody does. What do? You bow out in the middle of the show and you go to a food truck.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So freedom and trust with Dave gives his staff is empowering. He expects a lot in return, but just like his players, believes his staff has special talents as well. I have full creative freedom to do my job. Number 5, treats family and friends with the utmost respect. Dave is always thinking of my family and taking care of them. He is never too busy for anybody, always stops to say hello, looks everybody in the eye in the organization. He's the president of baseball operations. Whether you're in security, whether you're in PR, no matter what, you're in marketing, no matter what job, he looks you in the eye and gives you respect. That's what great leaders do. That's what Dave Dombrowski does. And he says this, the Christmas card from his family are works of art and a joy to open, always letting you know he cares. Whether you work for him now or you worked for him in the past, he doesn't forget you, always there for you. I mean, this text thread is literally unbelievable, and I love it. And this is my favorite of them all. You've heard me talk a lot about, and I know we were going to go into Roxy, that the approach today by a lot of these front offices is they're like that blackjack player who goes and buys the book, How to Play Blackjack. And I've actually seen some of these books, and in these books, they tell you about having a philosophy, a game plan, and you don't deviate from that game plan. When you sit down at that table and you're playing, you're going to have people coming in and out. We've all played blackjack in a casino. You got people coming out. You got a dealer, cocktail waitresses coming by trying to give you drinks. You got all these things going on. Stick to the plan. Stick to what you do. Stick to your guns. This is what we do, and we're not deviating. We're not risk takers. That is modern day front offices. He goes on to say, with Dave, there is no doubt that the only goal is to win a ring. As I said earlier, I don't think that's the goal of a lot of front offices. They want to, but it's not the ultimate goal. If everybody else at the poker table is playing safe percentages, the person willing to risk more chips can be disruptive. Who's been talking about this, Cody, for a long time now?
You have.
And you thought I was full of crap.
No, but
yes, admit it. All this time I've been talking about this. I've been saying, listen, look how the Cardinals went out. Their manager after was like, we played the percentages. Everything was about percentages. We have Eno on. It's about the percentages, and our percentages work more than they don't. Everybody's talking about percentages, numbers. This is a game that's played on the field by human beings. Yeah, your percentages may be right. I don't know, 60, 70% of the time. But when they're wrong, you look bad and you go home. And sometimes in life, you got to be a risk taker. You got to risk to sometimes to be the very best in everything. You don't think Elon Musk took risks in business? You don't think Bill Gates took risk? You don't think anybody that owns a mom and pop small business doesn't take risks? You have to take some risks. That's how you win championships. That's why this guy, Dave Dombrowski, has led 4 teams of the World Series, because he's about winning the ring, and you have to take risks. He doesn't have everything right now that the Astros have. Man, he just had to get his club in. He took a risk by getting rid of Joe Girardi. That was a risk. You have to take risk if you're going to win. And too many people in our business don't want to take that risk. Like I said, they rather say, I'm about sustainability. I want to be good for a long, long time. And I can't trade my top pick, I can't trade my top prospect or my third prospect. And, we've heard this for years. I mean, these guys are like, our prospects are like gold. Dave Dombrowski will trade a top prospect like that if he thinks he can win the World Series, because that's his ultimate goal, is to win the World Series. He's not worried about sustainability 4 or 5 years down the line. He wasn't like that with the Marlins. He wasn't like that with the Tigers. He wasn't like that with the Red Sox. He's not that like that with the Phillies now. He wants to win a World Series. I question the other 29 organizations. How much do they feel that way? Are they willing to risk? Is it all about the ring? Or is it about the regular season, their data, and their sustainability? Dave Dombrowski is different than just about the other 29 teams in baseball, including ours. The great Roxy Bernstein joining us from his secret cave. We won't tell you where he is. Roxy, we're talking about Dave Dombrowski, who I believe you know, don't you?
I know Dave. Now, he was not with the Marlins when I was there, but I've known Dave for years. And just first off, just a classy person to talk to, but a brilliant baseball man. I don't think that anybody could debate that, considering what you're alluding to. 4 different franchises that he was at the helm of going to the World Series. That's pretty remarkable. And you're right, he had to make a very difficult decision. He thought Joe Girardi was the best fit. And you know how close I am with Joe. And it was tough for me to see him let go, but it was proven to be the right move, that it wasn't working with Joe at the helm of the Philadelphia Phillies. Enter Rob Thompson, who's been a baseball lifer, right? This wasn't some guy that's a retread. He was on coaching staffs. In fact, it's interesting that he went to Philadelphia. So he was hoping that he was going to get a chance at some managerial jobs back a few years ago. He interviewed for the Phillies. He was in the mix for the Yankees job when they hired Boone. And he was all set on returning to the Yankees, even though he didn't get the job. They wanted him back on the coaching staff. And then Gabe Kapler was the manager of the Phillies at the time. And Gabe was wearing him out, Townie. He wanted Rob Thompson on his staff. And he kept calling him. And Rob's like, I don't know. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen here. And then when he didn't get the manager jobs that he was hoping for, Gabe calls again and he says, I'm coming. And then Rob stayed through the changeover when Gabe got let go. Joe Girardi comes in. They had that relationship previously, and then
from New York. Yeah. Well, he was on Girardi's staff when they won the World Series in 2009, right?
Right. And I asked him about that because I had their wild card series against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And I asked him about how much of that experience helped you now, and he goes, it's been very important to me just to be around playoffs and that atmosphere. And look, he wasn't making those decisions, those big decisions, those risky decisions. He was the one providing input, right? He wasn't the guy that was in the crosshairs. He was giving information and giving his input to Joe Girardi was making those decisions when the Yankees won in 2009. But that opportunity to be there when they were on the road to winning the World Series was critical for his development as a manager and preparing him for this opportunity.
Yeah, and I just think about, since you did that series for ESPN, I just think about listening to Oliver Marmol after the game, just be like, percentages. And I'm reading this thing, and I saw this, I don't even know how I started following him, but Brian Bannister, now, been a pitching guru guy for years, worked for Dave in Boston. Now I guess he's back with the Giants. He did this whole thread on Twitter about why Dave is so successful. And a lot of it's about leadership and how he handles people and how he's just an unbelievable leader of men, women, business. And one of the things he talked about is that, hey, man, this guy's a poker player willing to take risks. It doesn't sit there and just play all the percentages. And I'm sitting there thinking about, look at the ultimate risk-taking Phillies up against, we're going to play by the books. We're going to play because it's now by the books. All these percentages and playing all these teams, no one's reinventing the wheel now. This isn't Moneyball where the A's were, and now the Rays are doing stuff. Everybody's kind of doing the same thing. It's amazing to watch a team like Philly, that it factor, how special it is, playing with house money. They believe, and they're not built as a spreadsheet team, and it's working out going up against a team in the Houston Astros who are.
And they spend some money, certainly the Harper contract, but then they bring in Castellanos this past offseason. They made some little tweaks. They didn't make those big splash moves. You bring in a Brandon Marsh from the Angels, for example. You trade for Edmundo Sosa mid-season. They have faith in some of their young guys, like a Alec Boehm and a Bryson Stott. Gene Segura, who had played, over 1,300 Major League games without going to the postseason. And it's not like they have a deep pitching staff, right? Their number 1 and 2 starters are very good.
Yes.
With Nola and Wheeler. And then Ranger Suarez is okay.
Closer, Ranger Suarez.
At least he was. Exactly. But they move Zach Eflin to the bullpen. You're right. They're a hot team right now. And we know it's not always who's the best team, but who's the hottest team and who's playing the best right now. And I wonder if this extended break that we're going to have before the World Series starts on Friday, Chris, will work against the Phillies just because of the momentum that they have right now with the way they've played throughout the National League playoffs.
Yeah, I'm so shocked by that, Roxy. Like, if I would have said to you before it all started, the ALCS and NLCS, and said between the Yankees and the Padres, they're only going to get one game. Like, I even yesterday getting ready for it, I thought at least one of them. Like, at one point, the Padres, they looked pretty good. I mean, you thought even the Yankees got ahead. You thought one game, you only got one win out of the Yankees and the Padres. I mean, that's unbelievable. And yeah, I don't like the fact that we're going to sit for 4 days.
Look, and we know how powerful the Yankees are. I'm stunned they were swept. The Astros are a terrific team, as we know. They have unbelievable pitching. And they took advantage of an opportunity. That error just crushed the Yankees. And you feel for them because...
Well, I don't know if I'd say I feel.
Well, I do, because I like Booney. So I feel for Aaron Boone. How's that?
Yeah, all right.
Is that fair?
Right. By the way, 6 errors in the postseason, most by any team. Your New York Yankees.
But the crazy thing is, you look at the 2 elite teams, at least as far as payroll go. The Dodgers and the Yankees. And they ran out of pitching, Chris.
The Mets, too. The Mets.
The Mets did, too. Yeah.
They had no bullpen. They had Timmy Trumpet, and that was it.
But the Yankees, I mean, all of a sudden, Nestor Cortez has to leave early last night. And even if they had won, they would have had nothing left for today. I mean, they rode Jonathan Loaizaga for a while, Clay Holmes. It's crazy to think about with their payroll. And the Dodgers, for that matter, could run out of pitching. And their pitching would be decimated because of injuries, overuse, both electing to leave their closers off the roster.
How did that? Hey, all the old guys that didn't have it going anymore. I mean, give credit to Bob Melvin, who said, you know what, Hader stinks right now, but we're going to need him in the postseason. Hader delivered for Bob Melvin. The fact that the Dodgers and the Yankees left their longtime veteran guys with experience off came back to bite them in the ass.
And that's stunning that, first off, they made that decision. I know they weren't pitching great, but you need someone who's been there and done it before. Aroldis Chapman's done it before. Craig Kimbrell's done it before. And for those two to be left off the roster is still just mind-boggling to me. And, Dave Roberts and Andrew Friedman there with the Dodgers and Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone with the Yankees. And they should be scrutinized for that decision because especially more so the Dodgers, Chris, than the Yankees. But by not having somebody to lock down games, especially in that series against the Padres, really hurt them. And it's not just the ninth inning, but it's the way you have to reshuffle the deck, right? As far as your bullpen goes. All of a sudden, you've got the guy who you want in the eighth inning's got to go the ninth. And you have to move everybody up a peg and up a spot. And then, but with the Dodgers, and we love Blake Trinan, don't get me wrong. Blake Trinan had thrown 5 innings all season. He hadn't pitched since early September. And then he's on the roster over Craig Kimbrell just because Kimbrell had been ineffective. I didn't understand that situation. And I think that's an area where the Dodgers are going to be second guessed for the entire offseason by the media and their fan base.
Yeah, I brought this up earlier, Roxy, and I think it's actually a really good point. Buster Olney threw out there like, hey, if you guys are all going to whine, why don't we do this? Allow the number 1 seed to pick their path. So if you don't want to stop playing and you don't want the bye, you can insert yourself in the wild card round. And then you just start thinking, well, that'd be interesting. And you can pick and choose. Okay, maybe I'd rather play the winner of Philadelphia, Atlanta instead of San Diego, whatever. You'd allow that number 1 seed to truly pick their path and when they want to start playing. But I started looking at it, and obviously if you're the Dodgers, you don't want Atlanta. They knocked you out last year. Now, you look at it now, there's no way you would have wanted Philly. The way it's set up, you own the Padres. You were 14-5 against them. You beat them by 22 games. The Mets, they had a losing record against the Mets this year. The Dodgers had lost 3 of 4 against the Mets, and it's Scherzer and DeGrom. It really worked out exactly the way the Dodgers would have wanted it. The team you've been kicking the crap out of for years was offered to you on a silver platter, and you gagged.
And for travel reasons too, right? Instead of hopping on a plane and going cross country, you're going 2 hours down the road. You're heading down to San Diego. You're hopping on a bus. You don't have to get on an airplane for that division series. So that's exactly the matchup that they would have chosen. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
And then for the Yankees, they probably got the same matchup that they would be asking for. I mean, would you have the Guardians or would you have the Mariners? And I think on paper, to be honest with you, I'd rather play Cleveland than Seattle, even though the Terry Francona's team won the division. But with the excitement of guys like Julio Rodriguez and that team and the length of the Seattle lineup and then the acquisition of Castillo, I would have been probably happy if if I'm the Yankees, then I can look at, I've got the Guardians as my matchup in the division series. Now they won it, but then all of a sudden you get to the ALCS and you get swept. And this pitching staff that Houston has is fabulous, right? When you look at the rotation, Verlander back, and then of course it's only going to get better when they add Hunter Brown to the rotation next year. That's what's crazy, right? Their number one prospect who pitched in a handful of games there toward the end of the year. I called his major league debut on Labor Day. This dude's a stud. And there is an embarrassment of pitching for the Astros. And that's why they're winning. As good as Yordan Alvarez has been and the consistency for Altuve and Bregman, Chris, and you've talked about this all year. It's their pitching. It's the starting pitching, their bullpen, the way they've adjusted. Montero couldn't get people out in Seattle. And now he's a valuable member of the back end of that bullpen. Anybody could have had a break.
Nothing. I mean, you go back and look at these while like for us, we're going out and spending $5.1 million on Robert Poisson. They went down there and just carpet blanked. They just basically went out carpet bombed and went, okay, we'll give you 70, we'll give you 50. They just paid a bunch of guys nothing and hoping that some of them work out. Well, then that brings Valdez, that brings Urquidy. They pay nothing for these guys.
And they develop them. And there's a great system for development with the Astros. It's funny, Hunter Brown. So I was talking to James Click, their GM, when I was down in Houston at the early.
By the way, we never hear. I was thinking about this last night because as much as Dave Dombrowski travels with the team, and I've interviewed him, I tell the story. He was the first general manager I ever interviewed. I was so nervous. He travels with the team, so I've interviewed him all these years. Like, you think the GMs used, because I always did the show from the visiting GM booth, so I got to meet all these guys. None of them travel anymore. I'm like, this Click guy, I've never even seen him in an interview. What kind of guy is he?
He's a nice guy, unassuming guy, and very approachable. Because on Labor Day, Tim Kirkjian and I called the game in Houston. That was the night that Brown had made his major league debut, and we were standing around the cage with James Click for about, 15, 20 minutes. It was Kirkjian, me, James Click, and Craig Biggio was there that day. So the four of us are talking, and he was telling us a great story about Hunter Brown. That when they drafted him and they found him out of, Wayne State is where he went. Does that sound right? Division II Wayne State, I want to say.
Our Mecca, Wayne State.
Yeah. So the Astros get him. And, he's throwing a bullpen, fastball, slider, changeup. And you got anything else? And Hunter Brown goes, yeah, I used to throw this curveball, but they wouldn't let me throw it anymore because nobody could catch it. And then, so he goes on the bullpen mound. Their bullpen coordinator is watching. Their minor league pitching coordinator. They got a whole gang of people watching him pitch. And he throws the curveball. And then one of them speaks up and says, can you do that again? And then he throws another one. How about another curveball? He threw like 9 in a row, and all of a sudden they're like, yep, you're not ditching that pitch. And it's become just a lights-out pitch for him that's maybe his best pitch, believe it or not, even though he gets the fastball up there in the high 90s. But you're going to put him in that rotation next year, and it's going to make him that much better.
Do you know where Wayne State University is?
Is it in Detroit?
It's in the D.
Yep.
It's in Detroit, Michigan.
Because he's a Detroit kid, and it's funny because I talked to Dusty that day about him, and Dusty's like, Detroit dudes, they're cool dudes. I like dudes from Detroit. And then he rattled off a bunch of guys from Detroit over the years. They're all cool dudes. So this kid's going to fit right in.
So the W, they're Wayne State, and the W is for the Warrior. Mascot W, the Warrior. That's their mascot.
Okay. Division II Wayne State. That's where the Astros found Hunter Brown.
The Wayne State Warriors. I mean, it's and I'm not bagging. And the good thing about it is I'm not going to be hammering guys you work with. It's guys. I mean, we're starting to put people on TBS and we're putting people on FS1. And this whole narrative of, God, these Astros are really good. It's like, it just goes to show there's such a concentration on the Northeast that they're not following everything else that's going on. different time zones, different places. It's like every year they're like, wow, you know what? These Astros are pretty darn good.
And
it's
they've
like
been
an
good for a long
epiphany
time.
it's like an epiphany every year. It's like, what the hell are you guys watching all year long?
It's like they forget because they're so engulfed in the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry, or the Mets spent all that money in the offseason. And now the Phillies that's where a lot of the attention is going to go, right? Because it's a new hot story and a team that wasn't necessarily supposed to be there under the old playoff format. Phillies aren't getting in, right? They're the 6th seed. They were the last team in. And the last regular season series of the season was the Phillies going to Houston, wrapping up the playoff bid when Aaron Nola took a perfect game into the 7th inning.
Bryce Harper hit that home run yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And we unfortunately had technical difficulties, but we were going to have Jim Salisbury on from Philadelphia. And there was one highlight watching on MLB Network last night where you see the backside of Harper, drives it the other way, and the camera's behind him, Roxy. You see from behind home plate, and then they kind of zoom in on the ball as it goes over the wall. And just the way the human beings, we'll call them Philly fans, but just the exuberance that came out of the humans and the joy and just the way that stadium erupts. And you just think of everything that I don't get too sentimental here, but just think about everything that we've been through, from COVID, lockdowns, lives have changed, lockout to start this year. Just to watch a fan base be so happy and to watch them, just the joy that this run is bringing to them. We saw it too in San Diego too. But just to see these fan bases.
Seattle.
Yeah, and just to have that. Yeah, we saw that when they clinched and the A's were there. Just to see the joy that these people are getting out of baseball. I don't know, maybe call me sentimental as I'm getting old or whatever. I think it's been really special. And to watch the Philly fans has made for great television, as, they're unbeatable at the bank.
And we all know how Philly fans and how passionate they can be. When the Phillies are going well, nobody loves their team more than Philadelphia fans. And when the team is going bad, nobody complains and bitches more than Philadelphia fans, right?
Yeah.
So they're as passionate as anybody. And it's been 11 years since the Phillies were in the playoffs. And this is what they've been waiting for. And they've shocked everybody. Nobody expected the Phillies to be where they're at. Probably most people didn't think they'd get past the Cardinals in the wild card series. And they were down 2-0 in game one going to the ninth. And they were flat. They had nothing. And it was Jose Quintana that started the game. And Jordan Hicks then came in. The bullpen was on lockdown. They brought in Helsley. And then Helsley gave it up.
And hell broke loose.
Exactly. And they paper cutted the Cardinals to death. 6 runs on 3 hits. And I don't think any ball traveled faster than 75 miles per hour in that inning. And Gene Segura, who had never been to the playoffs before, of 1,300 major league games, gets the big hit. And that's what's propelled the Phillies, right? They win that game with that 6-run ninth inning. They come back the next night, and they have Nola going in game 2 after Wheeler pitched in game 1. And then in the second inning, on the first pitch of the second inning, Bryce Harper destroys a Miles Michaelis pitch, and that was going to be enough. And they eliminated the Cardinals, swept that wild card, and took that momentum into Atlanta. And I don't think anybody gave them much of a chance to beat the Braves, right? With how good Atlanta was down the stretch.
No.
And then here they are.
A lot of people don't think about this, but Bryce Harper is the mini version of LeBron James. Just not what I'm talking about, LeBron, his size. You're talking about 2 guys that were on the cover of Sports Illustrated when Sports Illustrated meant something. When they were in high school, LeBron was the king, and I'm looking at it right now, Bryce Harper in high school, baseball's chosen one by Tom Verducci. He's been in the spotlight like LeBron James since high school. Had to leave high school early because he wants to get drafted number 1 overall. So I think it was Southern, whatever the JC in Nevada
Southern
was.
Nevada.
Southern Nevada. So he can be the number 1 overall pick. He's been the chosen one, has had everything, has had everybody chasing him, all the money, all of everything. He's been nothing but a great citizen, great community guy. He leaves Washington. He just didn't like it. Goes to Philadelphia, but everything about Bryce Harper's career, he's been a great teammate. He hasn't fallen into any of the bad stuff that can happen to you when you have celebrity at such a young age and the money at such a young age. And now at 30 years old is having that postseason. He's been an MVP. I mean, wow. When you look at the start of the career, and that starts back in high school like LeBron James, and where he is now at 30 years old and the postseason he's having, what a run. This is the path to Cooperstown.
And that's the path that he's on. And the things he's overcome this year too, Chris, right, with the 2 injuries. He had the broken thumb that cost him a couple of months, and then he's dealing with the elbow issue, which he may need to get surgery for to correct it. And that's why he's been relegated to DHing. And it's funny, the Phillies defense really hasn't suffered as much as we thought with having to play Kyle Schwarber in left and Nick Castellanos in right. Now they benefit from having Brandon Marsh or Vierling in center because those guys can really go get it. But you thought it might hurt them because of the value that Bryce Harper has defensively also. But look, this is why the Phillies made that aggressive move to go get him and paid him the money they're paying him because he's one of the top hitters in the game. And the clutch hits that he's been getting, when you look at the Phillies throughout the postseason, it's been Bryce Harper that's come up with the big hits. And it's the presence in the lineup also that he has. And look, they spent all this money in Nick Castellanos. He has not had the season they were hoping for. He really didn't produce. And he had over, 500 at-bats this year? But Bryce Harper has done everything they've asked of him. And he plays with his emotions and his heart in his sleeve. And I think that's what the Philly fans love because they can see how much he cares.
All right, one more baseball before I get into your beloved Pac-12.
Conference of Champions. Let's go.
It's tough to. This question's going to be tough for you because Dave Roberts is a great guy. Aaron Boone, great guy. You love him, right? Great guys. But if you take the names out of it and you just say manager of the Dodgers, manager of the Yankees, we kind of know how this thing, because I don't agree with it, but the COVID year, a lot of people are saying, with the Dodgers win the World Series. So if you take the COVID year out and you look at the postseason for the Dodgers, it's bad. I mean, they go, but they chump out a lot. You look at the Yankees have spent, since the Yankees last went to the World Series, they've spent billions of dollars in salaries. You start since 2009, start going $2 billion, $2 billion, $2 billion, $2 billion. That adds up. I mean, $200 million, $200 million. It's in the billions how much they've spent on salaries and haven't gone to the World Series. Both of them just got contract extensions. But, I mean, if you're the owner of the Yankees, you're the owner of the Dodgers, are you really saying, you know what? These are the guys that are going to lead me to the promised land?
Well, Dave Roberts has done it. I know you want to take the COVID year out of it.
I don't. I think COVID was a legit. I'm one of the ones that says I lived it. I had to go through that in the postseason. But a lot of people don't.
I think that year was as hard as any to win a World Series because they also had to win an extra round in the playoffs that year. So, look,
and millions of people are dying around the planet, and there was the bubble. I think it's so insensitive that people say that, and it's typical writers who have bad perspective on reality. But I'm just putting it out there. There are a lot of people now, as we're getting further away from 2020, that go, they won it in 2020, shortened season. They've never won it with a full season.
But I go by the respect in the clubhouse that he has, right? And being around the Dodgers a few times this year, I can see the players, they respond for him. Look, he didn't assemble that bullpen, right? He can only manage what he's got. And I know people want to point the finger that, oh, well, this decision, that decision. But you don't think those decisions also run through Andrew Friedman, the Dodgers?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
At what point are we going to say, and if we believe all of the decisions are made by Andrew Friedman in the front office, at what point do the players feel that way? So I just start wondering about the respect. Dave Roberts is not making decisions. He's just not. Pulling pitchers, relievers.
He's not making them all, but he's making some decisions.
But if you're not making all the decisions and you're not even making fit, the players know it too. So I'm just wondering from a respect level and the fact I could see sometimes change could be a good thing. We're seeing it in Philly.
Yeah, but at the same time with him, Chris, but I see the presence he is with the players and the relationships he's got with the players. There is the respect. Now, even though they know the big decisions are most likely being made by the guys above Dave Roberts, but they still have that respect and that relationship with Dave. And I think the same thing with the Yankees, right? Aaron Boone, look, he's not making decisions without Brian Cashman. And it's I don't want to say they're connected at the hip, but it's pretty close. But at the same time, because I think they were such good players, I think that helps it, right? Dave Roberts wasn't an all-star. He wasn't a great player. But he was, I think, a really good player, and he played on a lot of really good teams and was a valuable contributor. Aaron Boone hit one of the biggest home runs recently for the Yankees. So I think that also plays into why those two guys have the respect from the clubhouse.
Oh, your boy Dave Roberts remembers hooking up horns with me in high school and college. As Rancho Buena Vista went up against Crawford in a TV game in high school where they smoked us like 48-28. But I did throw 4 touchdown passes in that game, Roxy. I do have the San Diego Union Tribune to back that up. Roberts remembers playing me in high school.
But how many of those touchdowns went to your team and how many went to the other team?
I threw 4 touchdown passes in the game, Roxy Bernstein.
Yeah, but how many to your team?
4. How do you think we got 28 points?
Well, you know.
And his team, by the way, went undefeated. You can look at it, 19-9. Right. His team went undefeated. I threw for the most touchdowns and yardage against his high school that year, and they went on to win all San Diego 2A.
There you go. Okay.
And he remembered. And when I interviewed him at spring training in 2019, I'm like, hey, Dave, I played against UCLA. But he remembered the games. So I'm a big Dave Roberts guy. I'm just saying. And by the way, New York could be more complicated, Roxy, because you could really ask, is it time for Cashman to go? And if it's time for a reset in New York, if Cashman goes, then you wouldn't even want Boone anyway.
Look, if they swing and miss on Aaron Judge here and Judge decides to leave, where does that leave?
You got a hot take?
I'm just saying if.
All right.
If he decides to leave, what does that mean for Brian Cashman if he loses Aaron Judge? It's not a hot take. I'm just putting it out there. This is not a take. This is not like I'm saying it's going to happen. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying if Aaron Judge decides to leave, he's going to go to the market and he's going to test free agency. If he decides to leave the Yankees, what does that mean for Brian Cashman? I'm curious. I mean, that's just a question. Hypothetically, who knows?
If you had to bet that beautiful home of yours behind you on where he ends up, where would you bet?
First off, I would not risk it. But second,
come on. Hey, we already talked about being risky. Beat Dave Dombrowski. Take a risk.
I keep hearing the Giants. I do. From a lot of baseball people. That Aaron Judge wants to come back to California. He doesn't necessarily not enamored with playing in New York. I could be reading it wrong, but I think the Giants have as good a shot as anybody does to get him.
All right, you want my first ever take on Aaron Judge to the Giants?
Yeah.
I will say this, as a baseball fan, and obviously they're on the TV. we watch them, right? They're in our market. I will be happy. If Aaron Judge is here, because Aaron Judge plays at a time that we're working. So we hardly ever get to watch him. We get all the updates on our phones and stuff, and we see the highlights, but we don't get to watch him on an everyday basis because he plays at 4:00. Our show's on at 4:00.
And I think they're desperate for a franchise piece, right? Buster
Well,
Posey.
let me get to that. So I'm
Yeah.
going to say I
Okay.
will enjoy as a baseball fan watching him play more. As someone who works in this business and evaluating it,
Mhm.
I will say this. I'm going to offer a player a lot of money to leave the biggest stage. What does that say about the player?
Some people don't like New York.
But this is the biggest stage. This is the biggest stage. You want off that stage. You want the big money. He's 30. You're not paying for his best years. So I already know going in, I'm going to start paying him in his 30s. He's a tall guy, massive man. Who knows how that ages? So I'm paying him big money off what he just did. Numbers probably won't be the same. And I want a guy who wants off Broadway. I want to pay for a guy who wants off the stage. I find that as a question mark.
Well, some people just don't want to be on that stage. And granted, okay, with him excelling and having success there, he's put up on that stage. I get it. But not everybody wants to be in New York, right? And I know it's a very different situation, but you and I have talked to Bob Melvin. He didn't necessarily want to go to New York, right? He could have, if he wanted, Chris, he could have had the Mets job, right?
Yeah.
That. He didn't want it. He doesn't want to do that because there's so much that goes into managing in your time in New York, as far as all the requests and dealing with the media pregame and all the other stuff that goes along with it. I think Bob found his comfort zone in Oakland because he realized he could do what he wanted to do, and he didn't have such a regimented day, and there wasn't the stress level. And I think it allowed him to excel with Oakland, and it's why he had success in San Diego this year.
I get it. That's a manager. A player who wants to step off Broadway. Who wants to step? You want to be a movie star? You want to win a Tony and you want to be on Broadway? You don't go to LA, you don't go to San Francisco, you go to New York. You want to be the best. Roxy Bernstein wants to be the best broadcaster. You go to ESPN because more people are going to see you doing ESPN than anywhere else. You don't say, I want to go to Fox Sports Southwest or Fox Sports Ohio. Roxy Bernstein went to ESPN.
They pay better.
Exactly. You go to be the star.
Well,
you go to San Francisco, you're saying I don't want to be the big star anymore.
Manny Machado could have gone to New York. He didn't want to. He chose San Diego, and people are, he doesn't want to win. All he cares about is the money. He just played in the NLCS, so I think, and then the Padres are all of a sudden set it for a number of years. With him,
we'll see how that runs. I'm just saying,
all right,
you got an athlete. You're saying this guy is starring in New York.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about a guy who turned down maybe an opportunity. I'm talking about a guy who's on Broadway, starring in the big show, who wants off of it. That, to me, is a red flag.
Maybe he's just not comfortable there. And maybe, look, he misses.
He just hit 62 home runs. How's he not comfortable?
He just got his family out here.
Well, I don't think he's moving back to the Central Valley.
No, but he can live close enough.
He just hit 143 for the playoffs, and also in the ALCS hit .063.
Linden, California.
I don't know. Your Bears, Roxy, are what's going on? What's going on?
Oh, it's been tough.
I mean, Conference of Champions, Roxy. What's going on?
That was a tough game Saturday night, and they just weren't clicking. And it's been a struggle. There's no excuse for losing to Colorado last week. Washington's a pretty good football team, but Cal put themselves in a position to win. But unfortunately, they're look at the schedule coming up. They got Oregon this week. They still got SC, UCLA on the docket. It's going to be a very challenging back half of the season for the Golden Bears.
SC loses. And then now you got UCLA goes up to Autzen and they lose.
You have 4 Pac-12 teams in the top 14, Chris. How about that?
Yeah.
Look, UCLA, Oregon, SC, I think they're all still in the conversation. are on the outside looking in, but they're not out of the running for the college football playoff. They need some things to go their way, but if one of those teams ends up as a one-loss conference champion, I think they're going. I think they'll get in.
And by the way, for San Jose State, canceling the game was the right move. And
I feel so sick for that family. Oh,
the freshman being killed on the way to
so bad,
getting hit by a bus.
Devastating.
We were. It was Friday, I believe, and we started getting these reports, and it was like, oh my
7 a.m. Yeah,
it was just like, oh
yeah. I was texting with Brent and his wife Courtney, and just offering my.
What did they say?
And they just they're trying to do whatever they can. It's about the kids and trying to support them and their players. And look, they're going to grieve and do what they got to do, but first and foremost, it's the family and it's the players. And I'm anxious to see how, they're back at practice now. They have a game against Nevada this week. And I just can't imagine what those kids are experiencing and feeling. You're getting ready to leave for a game. You're focused. You've done all the work all week to get ready to travel to play New Mexico State. And then just the catastrophic, tragic news of one of your brothers tragically passing away in a horrible accident. And I can't imagine, especially the freshmen, when they all came in together, Chris, what they're going through right now and how close those kids were.
Well, you think about, being in college and everybody's riding bikes and skateboards and now scooters and around cars and everything. And I just think about my kids going to college. I've told my kids, if you're ever on a bike, you better be on the sidewalk. It's very tragic.
I wrestled. So my son has one of those scooters. We got him one when he was going to and from elementary school. It's too challenging for him to ride it to and from middle school where he's at now. But I had fears and a lot of trepidation about letting him ride it because I was afraid of the potential of something like this happening. And now just you're sick that it's happened to somebody. And I'm not going to let my son get on one of those anymore. I'm just not going to do it.
All right, your last chance. We got the show on Wednesday, and of course, we'll be at the Chicken Pie Shop at Walnut Creek, a special viewing party, Game 1 of the World Series, starting from 1 to 4. So this is your chance. 7-game series, going to start in Houston. Phillies, Astros, who wins, how many games?
I'm going to take Houston in 6. I think that the Phillies have enough to win a couple of games, but just the depth of the pitching staff that Houston has and how good they are defensively, I think will be the difference in this series. So I'm going Astros in 6.
All right, my friend, who do you got this weekend?
I am off TV. It's my TV bye week, but I'm doing Tennessee and Kentucky in Knoxville with the Heisman winner, Gino Torretta.
That is a big game.
Huge.
Wow. Rocky Top is back rolling again.
Rocky Top, Tennessee.
They are rolling again. Eric Heupel, right?
Yeah. No, Josh Heupel.
Josh Heupel.
Yeah.
The old Oklahoma quarterback, the lefty.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got it rolling. That was Bob Stoops' national championship against where they beat Florida State and Chris Winkie.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Don't doubt my college football.
Speaking
knowledge.
of Stoops, you have the younger brother coaching Kentucky. So it's all tied into your guy, Big Game Bob.
Big Game Bob. Love that guy. I like great win. I've seen him a couple times when he's played out at the AT&T. Big Game Bob, and he's got the OU visor on. Love me some Bob Stoops. All right, buddy. Be well. Have a good call this weekend.
Sounds good, Chris. Talk to you soon.
The great Roxy Bernstein. He's got the Astros in 6. Good news is we will not have to make our predictions until Friday at 5 o'clock at the Chicken Pie Shop, Walnut Creek. We're having a viewing party. Last Dive Bars put out a flyer already. We're going to have they're going to be giving away. We're going to be giving away stuff. I might even go into my my treasure trove and find some stuff to give away.
New guest added to the lineup for the show on Friday too. The great Glenn Kuiper will be there at 1:30.
The great Glenn Kuiper's showing up?
Yeah, G-Kype texted me, said he'll be there. I told him the time. He said works out great. Also, I can crush a pie, just letting you know. So the official words from G-Kype.
I will stuff as many pies down his throat as he can take. The challenge is on, Glenn Kuiper, the great Glenn Kuiper. I believe the great Glenn Kuiper, I don't know if he's done the trip yet, was taking his son Jack back to the motherland. Do you know what the motherland is for people from Wisconsin?
Lambeau
Field, which is an incredible experience.
Yeah, well, the Packers aren't playing too well, but yeah, it is. I've never been there, but I've always wanted to go. But
It is. It is. There's no place like it. Green Bay is this tiny town. Everything's around the Packers. It's just like they've got their own Hall of Fame, which is it's like going in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They've redone Lambeau Field like 3 times. They've spent billions redoing it. It's beautiful. And they're owned by the shareholders. So they have pictures of the shareholder meetings where to have shares in the Packers, you got to be from Wisconsin. There's like these rules, and they show up like once a year for the shareholders meeting. It's like half the stadium is filled with all the people. And there's a president that runs the organization. It's really fascinating. And it's the one way you're able to look into the books of a professional sports team. You're actually able to look to see how they're operated, how much money they're making. It's fascinating. But the restaurant packed. They got a restaurant, and it's packed year round. They got people that go to Lambeau Field for the tour. There's a tour of the facility. There's the tour is different from the Hall of Fame. You got to buy tickets to all this stuff. That's how popular. They got a top golf across the street. So what they did, not to get too much into the Green Bay Packers, is over the years, the Packers started buying all those little houses. Like you go and look at the pictures of Lambeau Field, and there were all those houses right across the street from Lambeau Field. It's built in a neighborhood like Wrigley Field or Fenway Park. They bought all the houses around them, tore it down. It's restaurants, it's bars. Like I said, there's a Top Golf there. It's incredible. Well, no, it's not Top Golf. Yes, it's Top Golf, but it's not like you think of it. Like the Top Golf we have here in San Jose or in Alviso or like in Vegas or whatever, we have the big range. It's all indoor, but it's incredible. Lambeau Field is incredible. So I hope we will have the progress report that taking his son there to Lambeau Field because I know their family trip there.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to find that out. So yeah, G-Kype 1:30 on Friday at the Chicken Pie Shop, Walnut Creek. If you want to look, the address is right here on the banner for watching. If you're listening on Acecast, it's 1251 Arroyo Way, Walnut Creek. I hope to see everybody there on Friday. Real quick, our guest at 3:30, Randy Miller, is going to join us via video so we can talk Yankees. And what's next? He'll be joining us at 3:30 on video. So there we go.
Well, I'll tell you this. And I do think it's a red flag. I like I said, if Aaron Judge comes to the San Francisco Giants, and this is the first time I'm publicly saying this, I'm not going to hate on it. I'll like it as a baseball fan. If you're telling me we can watch it all the time, I mean, because let's face it, we're on NBC Sports California. They're on NBC Sports Bay Area. I watch a lot of Giants baseball. I will welcome watching Aaron Judge play on a consistent basis. No offense to Mike Yastrzemski. I will enjoy watching Aaron Judge as a baseball fan. But as someone in this business, I think it is a major. I don't have a red flag. I have a yellow towel, but I think I'm throwing the red flag. I'm challenged. You guys will be. I know. I mean, my boy Larry Krueger is already thrown out there. Oh, this is this is the greatest thing ever. It's like bringing Bonds back. If you want to be off that stage, if you watch through the years the stuff they've done with Aaron Judge, what he's talked about in the community, being in New York, this never looked like a guy that was unhappy being in New York. Doesn't look like it. Clearly, the year he just had doesn't look like he's unhappy being in New York. Something tells me when you're on the team in your sport, like Dwight Howard great example. Dwight Howard wanted to leave the Lakers. Why would you ever want to leave? The Lakers are the standard in the NBA. The Lakers they're the Lakers. Great teams, great players, all the championships, all the Hall of Famers. If you want to leave the Lakers, the biggest stage in the NBA, to go play for whoever, that's a red flag to me. Like if you were playing for the Dallas Cowboys and went, I'd rather go play in Jacksonville. That's a red flag to me. Why would you want to step off the biggest stage? Where the biggest moments, where the Hall of Famers, where the lights are brighter, as they say on Broadway. Why would you want to leave that? No offense, but to go play in San Francisco where nobody's going to be watching you, except basically people in Northern California. You go from being on the world stage, the biggest stage in baseball, the only stage that puts you up there with like the NFL and the NBA. No offense. You go to San Francisco, which says a lot about us too, Oakland. You're stepping right off that stage and you're just lumped in with everybody else. I mean, I think that's a red flag. And also you're going to be paying for the lesser years coming up. I would be like, I mean, if you're the Giants, all you care about is making money, totally understand. I'm just saying from the standpoint of Aaron Judge, who you are in your career, right? You've spent all these years in New York, and now you're going to jump ship because you want to get closer to home. I grew up a Giants fan. You're going to play that card? When you have the likes to be remembered for the rest of eternity at Yankee Stadium and Monument Park, you can be out there and have a monument with Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio, Mantle, Jeter, Reggie, those guys, to go do what? The Giants? What? Because you want to have your place next to Brandon Crawford and Brandon Belt? And I know you throw Mays and McCovey, but I mean, that doesn't compare. Mays McCovey is not Ruth, Gehrig, Mantle, DiMaggio, Reggie, Jeter. Doesn't compare. It just doesn't. There's nowhere else in baseball that compares to the New York Yankees. And you want off that ship? I hate the Yankees. You going to tell me I can play for them?
Don't be surprised if Brandon Belt's a Texas Ranger next year with Bruce Bochy going there.
Oh, man, I got to go to the Rangers.
But you're right about Judge, and Roxy brought it up, and I thought about this yesterday about the Yankees. You text me about Aaron Boone and Dave Roberts. The first person I thought of, what about Brian Cashman? I mean, Cashman, he's been there. He's the second longest tenured vice president of baseball ops, general man, whatever his title is now, with the Yankees behind only Billy. He's the second longest tenured guy behind only Billy. And
no, they're the same.
Oh yeah,
Billy was hired in right before the end of 97. Cashman was hired right after when the calendar flipped in 98. So technically, for seasons, they're the exact same.
So let me run this down for you real quick. Since 2010, here's the Yankees' postseason appearances, or their seasons. Lost in the ALCS in 2010, lost in the ALDS in 2011, lost in the ALCS in 2012, missed the playoffs for 2 straight years in 13 and 14, lost in the wildcard game to the Astros, missed the playoffs in 2016, lost in the ALCS in 17, ALDS in 18, ALCS in 19, ALDS in 2020, lost in the wildcard game last year, lost in the ALCS this year. It got swept. So, I mean, that's 13 years, and Brian Cashman has made it to the World Series. That's a lot, the second longest or third longest drought in Yankees postseason history. They've been to the World Series. Not saying he doesn't do a great job, but I mean, when do you consider maybe moving on and bringing a new voice for front office?
Tough to do, right, when you've had that much success. I mean, and they're probably, I didn't add it up, but I would bet it's over $3 billion in salary.
Yeah, they spent a lot of money. No, it's not like they used to when Steinbrenner was there, but they're still spending money. They're in the top 5 all the time.
They've been spending over $200 million for how long?
Yeah, for as long as I can remember.
I mean, if you added it all up, it's going to be around, because I don't know what 2000. Okay, their last appearance was 2009. So in 2010, they probably weren't at the $200 million mark yet. But at some point after 2010, they got to where a point they spend $200 million every year. So you start adding it up, 13 times 2, and then you got years where they're $230 million, $240 million. I would say they're close to probably $3 billion in salary. That's a lot of money.
I'm looking right now. This is a website I sent you yesterday. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it. 2010, they did the number 1 payroll in baseball. They were the only team over 200 million. They were 206. 2011, they were number 1 again at 201 million. 2012, they were number 1 at 197. 2013, they were number 1 at 228. 2014, they were number 2 behind the Dodgers, but they're still 203 million. 2015, they were 219. They were second behind the Dodgers. 16, second, 213 behind the Dodgers. Second again in 17 behind the Dodgers. So they're in the top 3 every year, it seems like. They were number 3 in 2018 behind only the Red Sox.
So basically, if I added all that up, it's over $3 billion. If you like, if 13 times 2 is 26, and you got a lot over 2, they're over $3 billion in salary since the time they won the World Series. $3 billion.
Yeah. So 2018, they were 7th. They were 168. But then the next year, 2019, they went right back up to number 3 at right back up in their payroll.
All right, who do we got next?
Randy Miller from New Jersey Advanced Media, who covers the Yankees.
Love it. He'll join us next right here on A's Cast Live.
Secure your seats for our 1973 team reunion celebration on Sunday, April 16th with our 73 flash sale presented by Budweiser.
The Oakland A's have won their 2nd consecutive World Series championship.
From October 21st to the 25th, tickets will be available at 1973 regular season prices for $5.50. Don't miss out. Visit athletics.com/flash sale today. That's athletics.com/flash sale.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
Hitting the road with the family. On your way to nonstop adventures. No worries ahead. Because you know you can stop at a Chevron station along the way. Get fuel for your car, fuel for your crew. That's Chevron with Techron for unbeatable mileage and snacks for all. Coffee for mom, chips for the kids, cold drinks for dad. You know, for the road ahead. Toss in some laughs, out-of-tune singing, and a zillion "Are we there yet?" And you just made lifelong family memories. Chevron, together ahead.
The skipper, Mark Kotze, was on A's Cast Live and discussed his message to the club heading into the offseason.
I was loud and clear yesterday. We had a discussion about obviously what we've done this year, how we've grown, and the expectation level for next year in terms of the preparation, right? And it was built off yesterday's or the night before's game in terms of, you know, just the transitional from the guys that are on the roster that won't be here, the guys in the room that should be here, and the guys in the room that, you know, need to continue this culture. And that's that grit, right? We talk about this long-term perseverance, you know, this commitment to a goal, right? And it starts now, and it starts in their training for this offseason. So like you said, no guaranteed contracts, 33 rookies, 64 players, I think, or more.
64.
And just the focus has to be, we're going to come out next year, we're going to continue to incrementally and get better, but with the expectation to win.
To listen to the full interview and much more, go to athletics.com/A'sCast.
Coming in at 5'3", it's number one mom. She switched to Xfinity and got the all-new 3-for-1 bundle. Unlimited internet, streaming, and Xfinity Mobile. All for what you could pay wireless companies for just one 5G unlimited line. Boom shakalaka. Go to Xfinity.com/3-for-1, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Limited time offer, restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
Like sports, business is about winning. Championship decisions are business decisions based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services, specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflows, managing documents, and providing the best-in-class office technology. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com. That's ubeo.com.
Streaming from the East Bay, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Just reading the comments here. Yes, Cody is alive. Yes, I will sign a jersey. I look drippy. I'm dripping today in my Vita Blue jersey today. Dripping, as the kids like to say. All right. Anything I'm missing here?
No. I did see the dripping comment. Then I heard someone call out Ray for his smooth tones on the flash sale. Remember, tomorrow's the last
How does anybody even know who Ray is on here?
It's a great question, but you have till tomorrow, athletics.com/flash sale, to get your tickets for the 1973 reunion on Sunday, April 16th.
For how much?
$5.50.
That might have got you into the ALCS game.
That's true. Randy
went from like $211 to like $20.
I know. Well, Randy's here. We can ask him about it because he was there and he knows what Yankee Stadium looked like. So
Do we have Randy?
Yep.
Randy, welcome to A's Cast Live. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. We've been breaking down, obviously, the ALCS and the NLCS as the World Series will start Friday down in Houston. Just take us through what it's like, your fan base, the fan base that relies on you for coverage. What is it like after a Yankee loss? They get swept by the Astros, lose to the Astros again. Just give us a temperature of what it's like with the Yankees fans.
It was different this year with fans, and it was different in the clubhouse. In past, the fans were upset. They thought the Yankees would win. They could win. This year, my feeling is the fans and the players knew that they weren't even close to being as good as Houston. It was different.
Wow.
Usually Aaron Judge, after a playoff loss, looks like he's terrible. And last night, it didn't seem to bother him that much. Yankee fans last night, the night before, it was completely different. The fans, the stands weren't as full. And right now, their anger is at Brian Cashman, Aaron Boone. They just feel that they don't have the roster to compete with the best. And when they lost in 2017 and 2019, they were close to Houston. And right now, my feeling is the Yankees are closer to being a losing record team than they are to the Astros. And when they lose Aaron Judge, and they're going to lose Aaron Judge, they got big problems.
You know, I'm going to tell you, I went back and checked out the MLB network notes that I get before every single game when the A's were taking on the Yankees in June, where the Yankees at this point, the A's are coming to the Bronx. Yankees are on pace to win 119 games. They're talking about being an all-time team. They hit 55 home runs in June, set the record for the most home runs. There's all these things they were talking about with the Yankees when the A's were there, that this was going to be an all-time historic team covering this on a daily basis. Just how crazy is it? You went from being all-time historic to getting swept by the Astros, and everybody, I guess, expected it.
Yeah, they did have a lot of injuries. Everybody Cashman traded for was hurt. Benintendi was a guy that was going to give them another small ball guy. He's hurt for the season. DJ LeMahieu, one of their few small ball guys, he's hurt for the season. The bullpen, Aroldis Chapman quit on the team. He spent the playoffs at home. Clay Holmes, who was the best pitcher, the best reliever in the majors in the first half, was not very good in the second half. The bullpen was a major strength, became a major weakness. Michael King was their best reliever, even better than Clay Holmes. Blew out his arm. He was done for the season. Chad Green, another high leverage reliever, blew out his arm. So they did have a lot of injuries. That said, they had a flawed team, a flawed roster. And when you look at the first half, when they were winning all those games, they weren't quite that good. They must have won 15 games there where everything went their way. And you just knew they were going to have some tough times there. But when you looked at it, you said, boy, Houston's pitching's better. Houston's bullpen's better. Their lineup's deeper. So I'm not that surprised that they had a tough second half. I didn't expect them to go out like this. And frankly, I believe that Cleveland would have beat them if Terry Francona would have pitched Bieber in Game 5. And that gave the Yankees life to at least get to the second round. And I think that, in their mind, saves face a little bit.
So you think Judge is gone, and why?
I'm hearing the Giants are going to make the best offer. And I believe Aaron Judge is ready to leave the Yankees for a lot of reasons. I believe he wants to go home. When I was in Oakland for the Yankee series, I came out early, went to Linden, his hometown, for a day, talked to a lot of people. I know a lot of people close to Judge. I believe he wants to go home. There's a lot of reasons. I think the booing, Judge, believe it or not, 62 homers, was booed in half of the Yankees home games for the playoffs this year. That stings him and his family and his friends. And the fact that Joey Gallo, Aaron Hicks, others were just really booed badly, that hurts him. I think that he grew up a Giants fan. He's very, very close to his mother. He's married now. His wife is from Linden. Also, what's that, an hour and a half east of you guys? Small town. I think that he grew up he was a big Rich Aurelia fan. And I think that he's being tugged home. I expect him. And one of the things I saw last night in the clubhouse, I was a Phillies writer for 17 years. This is my 7th with the Yankees. I've never seen this. Last night, Judge does 11 minutes of talking. It was 1 o'clock in the morning till 1:10, 1:11 in the morning. The game started late last night in the East time. And after Judge does his interviews, he starts walking to his locker, and then it's almost like he's standing there and there's a line, and it's like we're walking up to him one by one, like he's at a casket saying our goodbyes. And he's telling us, we'll see you down the road somewhere. We'll see you down the road somewhere. It feels like he's definitely gone. Judge is very hurt that the Yankees, he feels lowballed him, 213.5. The offer he got in spring training and turned down on opening day. The fact that the Yankees publicized this number, even though it was going to get out, the Yankees publicized this number to say, look at this big number that we gave him. And he felt like that made him look cheap by turning it down. He's a very principled guy. It won't be easy for him to leave. He's very tight with Aaron Boone. He's very tight with the players. He's the best leader I've been around. I covered Darren Dalton when he was with the Phillies. I didn't cover the Jeter years, but he was a leader, a big leader on this team his rookie year. I think as big a leader as CeCe Sabathia and Brett Gardner, and it was that clubhouse. And now he's even bigger. So he feels loyal to the Yankees, but I think he's ready to go home and try to do it at home. I think he's so close to his parents that They did everything for him, and I think he would like to go to the Giants. And what I'm hearing is the Giants are not going to be underbid, that their feeling is that they are going to make the highest offer, and they're also going to get a second free agent to put somebody in the lineup with them. And I think that's going to do it. I at the beginning of the year, I thought there was a 75, 80% chance Judge is coming back, and now I feel it's over 95% chance that he's gone to the Giants. That's how strongly I feel.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Rich Aurelia. He's a friend of this program. We're gonna have to get Richie on to talk about how he's a big draw, bringing in the big fish back to his San Francisco Giants. You know, with all that said, I'm going to want to ask you about Philadelphia here in just a minute, knowing your time there.
I still live there.
You still live there? I love Philly. Philly's a great town. If I'm Hal Steinbrenner, okay, the big fish, the big guy, the guy that just hit 62 home runs, the guy that I was planned to have a monument out there with Babe and Lou and Reggie and Jeter and the Yankee greats, leaves me. I haven't been to the World Series since 2009. So essentially, have spent over $3 billion in salary and have not been to a World Series. Hal Steinbrenner just can't say, a tough one for this year. We're going to go get him next year. What do you do with Cashman? I know Boone just got an extension, but what do you do with your organization? If Judge leaves, you just got swept. I mean, you're the Yankees, for God's sakes. What do you do?
Well, first off, it could be worse than Judge. I don't think Benintendi is going to come back. Anthony Rizzo has a opt-out. I think he will opt out. Maybe somebody offers him. They're in a tough spot because all the top free agents this year, other than, say, DeGrom, who's not coming to the Yankees, and Judge, are shortstops. The Yankees didn't trade for Luis Castillo because their best prospects are Oswald Peraza and Anthony Volpe, both shortstops. That's their future. So I think that they could possibly have a rebuild. I don't know how they sell that to the fans. The one way is, now you mentioned Boone having the extension. I think Boone could be a scapegoat for this. And there's one way that the Yankees can deal with this Judge situation is to bring in someone even more popular than Aaron Judge, and that's replace Boone with Don Mattingly. Yankee fans love Don Mattingly. They've been craving for Mattingly to be the manager for years. Now, look, I don't think this is Boone's fault. The Yankees are so heavily into analytics that I think a lot of the pitching changes, lineup changes are analytics. But I feel that Brian Cashman, who's the head of this analytics ship and is pushing this, that for him to save face, may have to fire Boone and bring in Don Mattingly, and that might be a way to fix this for at least a year, to get over this hump to where they get Peraza, who's probably going to be the shortstop next year. When you get Volpe up, who they think is going to be the next Derek Jeter, that's kind of the changing of the next era here. And if they lose Judge, it's going to be tough for them to compete next year. When you look at that division that they're in, the Orioles are up and coming. The Blue Jays are very good. They smell blood now. They want to get better. And Tampa Bay with that small payroll, that's amazing. They win 90 games every year.
You know that when you say that, Randy, I got to tell you, I immediately I think business. That's one of the things we try and cover a lot. We just don't do the metrics and the analytics here on this program. We talk a lot of business. And when you think about season ticket holders, take me. I'm 50 years old. Take guys from my era. If you're in your 40s, your 50s, your early 60s, Don Mattingly's Donnie Baseball. You love, like, even if you hate the Yankees, you love Don Mattingly. Don Mattingly is one of those guys from that era with, like, George Brett and these guys that you put posters. We all had Don Mattingly looking like the gangster. We had that poster up back in the day. I could see bringing in Don Mattingly gets, my age guys have a little money. We buy season tickets. I'll back Don Mattingly no matter what's going out on the field, right? You would back Don Mattingly. That actually would be a smart business move if you're thinking about, especially going maybe don't call it a total rebuild, a retool, whatever. I could totally see that happening.
Well, they can't have a total rebuild in New York. Hal Steinbrenner won't allow that. They're going to have to try to add. I think one of the ways that they'll try to add is they need a closer. I could see them bringing in Diaz, the Mets closer, to spend some money there. And also, if they lose Judge, Verlander is going to opt out. I can see them maybe just trying to pull a Scherzer type deal with Verlander, reunite him with Cole, and see if we can win with pitching. It's risky at that age. He's going to win the Cy Young this year. Verlander will be number 3. He's 39. Maybe you give him 2 or 3 years and try for pitching to win that way. That's the way the Nationals won a few years ago with Scherzer and Strasburg. So they're definitely going to have to strategize on how to replace Judge if they lose Judge. And I think they will, but I don't think the Yankees at this point have any idea how tough it's going to be to sign Judge. I think that they feel that they will give him the biggest offer, that nobody will compete with them, and they will give him the captain, and he will come back and everything will be fine. Everything will be forgotten last year. I don't think that's it. Judge would love to be the captain. He's already the unofficial captain. But I feel that he's being tugged to go home. I think too much has happened in New York, and he's loved that Giants organization. It's home. I think while his parents are young enough and healthy that they can go to games. Like I said, his wife is from there. His wife's mother still works at the school. They're heavily involved in that community. He can do his charity work out there. I would be surprised if he doesn't go there. And I hear the Dodgers are going to make a run at him. I don't think that'll be it. The one thing the Yankees could do if they get Mattingly, the other thing would be to try to trade for Ohtani for 1 year. And I know the Yankees would love Ohtani. From what I hear, and I have friends in the Angels organization, is that Ohtani wants to go to the Red Sox. That's what I hear. I hear he does not want to go to the Dodgers, and I hear he does not want to go to the Yankees. I hear first choice is Red Sox. Now, would he go 1 year with the Yankees in a trade? That's at what's it, $30 million, whatever his contract is for next year. The Yankees probably think we'll get him in here. He'll love it, and then we'll sign him, and we can replace Judge. And now we have our new face of the franchise. I don't know that maybe that works. That's probably the smartest move. But like I said, from what I hear, Ohtani does not want to play for the Yankees, and he does want to play for the Red Sox.
Wow, all fascinating stuff. Hey, let's end on this. It was great yesterday. I saw the highlight. It was the camera behind Bryce Harper. He's knocking it out to left field, and the camera stays behind Harper, but then focuses on the crowd. And when the ball goes over the wall, the fans just went nuts. And this whole, whether it was against St. Louis, whether it's against Atlanta, whether it was in this series where, just unbelievable the way they're playing and they take down San Diego, just the pure joy and just how happy, exuberant, just all the different things you can say about the Philly crowd. It's been so much fun to watch how the bank has been like a nightclub in between innings, and it's just rocking. You live in the city. You know about the spirit of the city. Just how happy are you for the Phillies and the fans?
Well, I'm a native Pittsburgher, so.
Oh, wow. So
Philly's still
the
that's
dynamic changes.
I'm a 70s Pirates fan. And a 1980 A's fan, because one of my best friends was Mr. 20-game loser on the A's, Brian Kingman. We've been to 3 or 4 Super Bowls together. We go hiking the Grand Canyon. Yeah, so that uniform there reminds me of the 8-20 Brian Kingman.
Love it.
So yeah, Philly, they're very excited. I was up in the Bronx last night, and I live 25 miles north of the city. And my wife was telling me after, she said, the Phillies must have won because I'm hearing gunshots and fireworks go off. It reminded us of the Super Bowl when the Eagles won.
Yeah.
Philly fans are crazy. I covered them from 96 to 2011. I was in the media bus for the World Series parade. There were 2 million people at that parade. It was crazy. They were nearly tipping over the bus. People hanging from trees and signs. When they win, it's the greatest. It's the greatest to be around. They can be tough like Yankee fans. Look, Mike Schmidt was booed his whole career, and the Yankee fans are right there now booing Aaron Judge after a 62 homer season because and it was game 2 when it started of the ALDS, and the Yankees were actually up in the series 1-0, and he's getting booed in the second game because he had struck out 3 times in the game. And Yankee fans don't realize that stuff like that is part of the reason why Judge is probably not coming back. He's a guy that he wants to be loved. He loves the attention, but the booing hurts him, and the booing to the teammates really hurts him. And he's not going to get that. He's not going to get that with the Giants.
Let's not forget at the old vet, they threw snowballs at the drunk Santa Claus at the Eagles game.
Oh.
They're relentless in Philly.
That's actually, it happened at Franklin Field, and I used to tell people that story. And friends of mine, older friends of mine, who were at that Eagles game, apparently it was a really drunk, vulgar Santa Claus who was causing a lot of people problems, and it was to shut them up. So that's the story that Philadelphia people who were at the game say. But yeah, if you want to rip Philly, feel free to use that one.
Hey, only in Philly do you have a vulgar drunk Santa Claus.
That's right.
Hey, Randy, great stuff. I mean, you're spitting knowledge. This was fantastic. Are you going to be in San Diego for the winter meeting? I'm not going to be
in San Diego. I've been home 2 days in the last 17. And let me give a shout out to your producer, by the way, Cody. You know that we his mother and I grew up one block from each other in suburban Pittsburgh in Jeanette. How about
Cody,
that?
where are you?
Oh, I'm here. I'm right here.
Did you know that?
I did. That's how I know I knew Randy was going to be, when I always reach out for Yankees, Randy's my first choice because of the Jeanette connection that we have. Jayhawk Pride.
Jayhawks. Terrell Pryor, the old Raiders quarterback, is the best known from our school. But then Cody would be number 2.
I know TP. I used to work for the Raiders before they left for Las Vegas. So yeah, I know all. Cody's told me all about. He's the greatest football player, greatest basketball player. I've heard all about your hometown.
By the way, that immaculate reception, baby, that was legit.
No, oh my! Don't say that on this show. That'll we'll have. Hey, Randy, great stuff. And when things break with the Yankees, let's have you on again.
Anytime, guys. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Randy spitting knowledge.
Which one do you want to react to first?
I don't know where to go. Shohei Ohtani, a Red Sox?
I
mean, what?
I just.
Hey, by the way, you want to get his ass out of the division? Go right ahead. Ohtani, see ya. Go to Beantown.
Yeah, I just don't know
I don't know where to go. I mean, you got Judge hates it in New York. I still think it's a red flag. I mean, I don't care if your wife is from Linden and her mom is still in the school district. It's New York. You want to be an all-time great or not? And you know what? I guess I think like Yankee fans. I don't know. Maybe, Cody, you tell me. If I'm a Yankee fan and he doesn't want to hear, get him out. What did he win? He didn't win a championship. He never got you to the World Series. Guy just hit $143 in the playoffs, and in the ALCS hit .063. He just hit 63. I'm telling you what, if I'm a Yankee fan, that's not Reggie. That's not Babe. That's not Jeter. That's not Paul O'Neill. That's not Scott Brocious. I mean, you go down the line. Is that Bernie Williams to you? I mean, I'll be right here. I'll be Yankee fan. You want to talk about my Yankees? I'll talk Yankees. If Aaron Judge doesn't like it here, get out of here. Go back to San Francisco. I mean, you know what? I hear all that, and I'm a Yankee fan. I wouldn't want him. Yeah, I'll say it right here. It's like with the A's. You don't want to be here? Get out of here. I don't want you here. If you don't like our stadium, you don't like the clubhouse, you don't like this, you don't like that, or crowds are not big enough for you, you know what? I don't want you with the A's. You either want to be here or you don't. You're either one of us or you're not. Beat it. And if I feel like that with the A's, what do you think they think about with the Yankees? You don't want to be like Derek Jeter? You don't want to win championships? You don't want to be an all-time great? This is too tough for you? Get out of here. We'll take that, I don't know. Let them offer him $400 million. $400 million could buy you a lot of good players and fix a lot of holes. And I never thought about that, man. How about Verlander to the Yankees? How awesome would that be? Get Verlander out of the division. Hey, you know what? Take the whole Astro team and have the Yankees buy him and get him out of here.
You know what name we were discussing in the office today? Earlier.
Take Brandon, take Altuve, take all those guys.
We were talking about this in the office earlier today, and I threw out the idea because they're one of our one of our coworkers that works in the Ace Productions is a Dodger fan, and I said, Carlos Correa.
You hired a Dodger fan?
He likes the Dodgers, but
come on.
I said, what about Carlos Correa as a Dodger? And he immediately crapped all over that. So we don't want him. Fans in LA hate him for what happened, but he has something you guys don't have. So swagger. Dodgers don't have that. Besides Mookie Betts, what do you have? I'm sorry, Freddie Freeman doesn't exude swagger whatsoever. I think Correa is a perfect fit for the Dodgers.
Who is this person?
It's Charlie Kennewick. I'll throw his name out.
Bring him on the show. Bring old Charles onto the show.
Well,
Let's go.
I think he's gone now, but
yeah. So Carlos Correa steps up and starts being Carlos Correa for the Dodgers. You'll be making jerseys. You'll have a bobblehead. You'll have a Dodger dog named after him. Stop it. You're the most front running. You could bring anybody to the Dodgers and the Dodgers won't accept him. Oh, you're talking about a Hispanic player not being liked, not going to work in Los Angeles? You serious?
Yeah, I think
he'd be a perfect fit. They would love him. They would love him. And you know what? I would love for him to be a Dodger too. You want to know why?
Why?
Get him out of the American League too. We don't have to deal with him.
Well, I mean, or you know what he could do? Just quit now and go join TBS or MLB Network full time.
Oh, he's fabulous. Carlos Correa is fabulous.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's so far from how old is he even 30 yet?
No, he's like 27.
No, he's not that young.
Yeah, I think he's 20. I don't even think he's 28 yet.
28. Yeah, so next year he's 29. Yeah, so he's in that. He's got years before he'll be on TV. And you know what? By the time Correa, who knows how long he's going to play? By the time Correa is done, games might not even be on traditional TV by that point.
It's true.
Yeah, I said it. Yeah, TBS ain't going to be. By the time Correa is done, TBS games will not be on TBS.
Oh, no. I don't think, as you said, it's so hard for people who are streaming. They don't know what channel TV, like, okay, a little different. If you're still using actual cable, it's harder to find it than it is on streaming because it has TBS and everything. But
I gotta actually, because I have Xfinity, I have cable. Yes, because I support NBC Sports California that airs A's games. Unlike you, Cody, I support our partners. So I'm able to now go TBS, and then it pops up. But I couldn't tell you. It's like 7:30 something. Like I can tell you MLB Network 7:29. NFL Network is 7:30. ESPN is 7:24. And then ESPN 2 7:25. NBC Sports California for A's games and Sharks games is 7:21. Giants, Warriors, they're 7:20. Golf Channel 7:49. The political stuff is like CNN, Fox, they're all like 7:50, 7:60 something. Like literally, and then of course 700, like 7:02 is Fox, 7:03 is NBC, CBS is 7:05, ABC 7:07. I mean, those are like the only channels I know. And then in between there is where you get your like Discovery Channel, National Geographic. They're in like the 30s and 40s. I couldn't even tell you what TBS is.
Yeah, hopefully it just goes to
Fox Sports 1 is 7:31. I know that because of baseball. And then but you know what? You know who's on? CBS Sports Network. The only reason why I know that is because my Spartans are always on it.
Correct.
Mountain West, we always get put on CBS Sports Network. It's San Jose State up against Colorado State, Saturday Night Football.
I think it was the Fresno State game. It was on FS2 because baseball was on FS1.
Yes. Which I didn't even know FS2 even existed.
Yeah, it was one of those things I didn't either until I saw that the Fresno San Jose State game was going to be on there. But Aaron Judge to the Giants, yeah, we've heard that because of the local ties, but
it's unbelievable to me. You know what? if he just resigns with the Yankees and all this was a negotiation ploy, right? Float the trial balloons, chum the water, make them think the Giants are coming. Oh, he's the biggest Rich Aurelia fan. One of my favorite guys in our business, Rich Aurelia. And in the end, signing with the Yankees, won't be shocked.
No,
but
not
if,
at all.
but if he does sign with the Giants, I mean, that frees up a lot of money. I mean, if you want to win, like we read you the thread about what Dave Dombrowski's so good at. If you want to win, is there anybody on the Houston Astros that makes crazy money? Is anybody?
Verlander and Altuve, maybe.
Crazy money?
Well, I'm just saying, like,
Altuve doesn't make crazy money.
Verlander makes 25.
That's crazy. Dude, you're talking about close to you're talking over $400 million, man.
Jose Altuve makes 26 million.
You think that's crazy money?
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to think of like their highest paid players, and it's those two guys.
I know. I'm talking about crazy money. Nobody. Altuve's contract's like 100 and something million. Bregman's like 110. All these guys, no one signed to $400, $300 million. Nobody.
Yeah,
nobody.
The next guy that and they re-signed Yordan Alvarez, and it was like a
100 something million. These are all contracts that are manageable. Carlos Correa wanted well over $200 million. What did they say?
No.
Bye-bye.
We'll put Jeremy Pena in instead.
Because it wasn't a manageable contract. Okay, we're going to spend money. This is where the Astros, you want to know like what you can learn? The Astros are going to spend money. The Astros are going to spend money on a lot of different things. And it's not going to be on players. Totally. Like the Astros have those high-tech cameras at every one of their minor league facilities. Any place that an Astro minor leaguer plays, they've got data and they've got the high-tech cameras. They've got the technology, right? They spend money on that. Very smart. And they'll spend money on a player to a point. But it's all going to be money that they can manage. That's why I'm saying they haven't spent crazy money on anybody. $100 million contract is a norm now. Tell me what Altuve's is. 145. Bregman, I know, is like 110. Verlander is the ultimate. It's a 1-year deal. Or does he have an option?
Let me go back and pull it up. But yeah,
I think Verlander can opt out. But whatever. Nobody is inked up for 10 years, 12 years, 300 million, 200 million. They don't do that because that's bad business. I've been telling you, A's fans, over and over and over again. Long contracts are bad business. Right now, it looks great for Harper. Good for him. I'm happy for him. I like Bryce Harper. But a lot of these contracts stink. Like right now, I mean, you're sitting around as an Angel fan going, we've signed Trout for $400 million. We've had him for all these years. What do we got? Nothing. I mean, I don't know what you're going to get out of the Lindor $300 million. You think Lindor, that's going to be a good contract? No. So, I mean, the Astros are smart. A guy priced himself out. Is Correa a good player? Was Correa the guy that kind of was their swagger? No doubt about it. He wanted too much money. They offered him 100 and something. I can't remember what they offered him, but it was over 100 million, and he scoffed at it. And they went, okay, bye-bye. Have fun. We'll replace you. No player is bigger than the organization. No player is bigger than the brand. I think for the first time ever, I disagreed with Dan Plesac last night. I love Dan Plesac, but he talked about how big Aaron Judge is to the brand of the Yankees. Aaron Judge is not bigger than the brand. Sorry. Aaron Judge can move on, Giants offer him $400 million, and he moves on. By the way, he's going to come to the Bay and not put up the same numbers. You know that, right?
Yeah. Has anyone never looked at what it's like to play at Oracle Park compared to everywhere else?
Those little cheap right field home runs that he gets a lot of, those
Not
don't go
happening
out
there.
anymore. So he's not going to hit 62 home runs. Not going to happen. And all of a sudden he gets older and it's cold all the time and he's not hitting those home runs, and now he hits 37. Well, you're paying $400 million for 40 home runs, 37 home runs, and you're going to be like, didn't we pay for the guy that hit 62? You're buying a stock at the very height of the deal. But you know what? If you're a Giants fan, you don't care. They got the money. So this is what Randy had to say was all fascinating stuff. Breaking Shohei Ohtani what he wants.
The Ohtani one's probably the most interesting.
Yeah, he doesn't want Yankees. He doesn't want Dodgers. He wants to play for the Red Sox. But I mean, if I'm the Yankees right now, I mean, I kind of would like the idea if, let's say, Judge leaves. And I have all of this. And go ahead, Rizzo. You want to opt out? Go right ahead. Take your what did he hit this year? 2 what? He hit some home runs in like the first half of the year. And then after that, he was not the same player.
Well, he was like the only guy in the postseason hitting for them. But Rizzo hit 224, 32 home runs, 75 RBI.
A guy hitting 224 wants to opt out. Thanks. Donaldson's owed like 20-something million left on his deal.
Yeah, and he also
29. Donaldson's owed 29 between 2023 salary and a 2024 buyout. I mean, I'm the Yankees. I try and shed. I got to figure out how to get rid of Stanton. I got to get rid of that. But you know what? I would love that. I actually would love that. I would love the idea. How do I remake? If you want to go back and say to yourself, who were the 1998 Yankees? The greatest baseball team we've ever seen in our lifetime. They had everything. You know what they didn't have? They didn't have a guy who led the league in home runs. They weren't made up of a bunch of boppers. They were made up of a bunch of just really good players. Every single position, they had ballers. Paul O'Neill wasn't going to lead the league. Jeter's not going to lead the league. Tino Martinez is not going to lead the league. Bernie Williams. No, I mean, Scott Brocious. But every single position they had a quality player. And they mauled you. And they had pitching. They had bullpen. They just mauled you. Was anybody the highest paid player in the league at the time? I don't think so. I don't remember anybody. David Wells was not. David Cohn, they weren't the highest paid guys. They spent a lot of money, but they spreaded it all around. If I was the Yankees, I go, I want to get back to that mold. Let the guy who hit 62 home runs but hit a $143 in the postseason, let him go. Rebuild your team with a bunch of players. May take 2 years, but go out and get a bunch of good players. Because for that kind of money, $400 million, I mean, isn't that what it's going to take? $350 to $400 million at least?
Yeah. And do you want to spend that on one guy, or do you want to spend that on several guys that can help you get better?
On 7 guys, 6 guys. You need half your damn roster.
Yeah, look, I mean, majority of the guys in the Astros bullpen alone are guys they traded for. Montero, Presley, they signed Ryan Stanek. They traded for Will Smith, who's not even on the playoff roster. They don't have a left-handed reliever in their bullpen. The only lefty they have in their entire pitching staff right now is Framber Valdez. That's it. It's all right-handed heavy. But they've been drafting well, and international signings are what have made Houston so good over the last, 7-8 years? That's what it is. The biggest free agent they brought in is Michael Brantley. He's not even playing.
And by the way, sad that he can't play.
Yeah, he's such a good contact hitter. He's such a good hitter and leader for that team. But they're doing just fine without him.
Yeah, how about that? How about when they go, oh, the Dodgers don't have Walker Buehler?
The Astros are playing Chas McCormick and Jake Myers in center field, and they're winning. They're in the World Series, and they haven't lost a game in the postseason.
I asked Roxy this question. I'll ask you. Take the names off the back of the jersey. You're just saying the position. Would you have the manager back in L.A. or New York?
No. I think you replace both.
You know, Dave Roberts, they've given him a vote of confidence. Would you have either of them back?
I would say no to both. If I had to pick one, I would go with probably Dave. I'd keep Roberts because that he's not controlling everything. We don't know what it's like in New York. I mean, you could assume that it's Cashman in the front office, but you don't know. But I feel like Aaron Boone's been given. They just got swept in the ALCS. At least the Dodgers. Well, they didn't really put up a fight either, but at least they won a game. I mean, the Yankees got swept in the ALCS, and they lost both games at home. Oh, and no one showed up, and your best player was getting booed. And you've had questionable decisions all year long. So I would probably replace Boone before Roberts. If I had to choose, I'd replace both if I could.
I just don't know how you, as a Dodger player, you look at Dave Roberts. How does Dave Roberts? How do you run a ship that you're not making the calls? That's got to be so tough for these managers. Like, how do you lead your team when your team knows you're not making the calls? How do you be that leader? I don't know how you do it. I mean, you're just basically, you are really like middle management. You know that when he's taking you out of a game or when he's putting you into the game, and this can work for position player or pitcher, you know it's not his decision. They're like telling him what. I mean, he's a puppet. Who respects the boss who's a puppet? Who? We have heard, by the way, there isn't a whole lot of respect for Kevin Cash, guy who's won Manager of the Year, twice in the American League?
Yeah, I think it's twice.
We have heard that, but the deal is nobody there really made money in Tampa, so they got to play ball. They all don't like it, but they got to play ball, and it works, and they win. But a lot of the players, I mean, they can't wait to get out of there. It's not an environment of Bryce Harper and Philly has a great environment right now. Philly, it's all about Philly. It's pointing at the jersey. It's about Philly. It's our house. It's this. Do you get any? This is Tampa. This is our house. Do you get any of that?
No.
And what do you get out of Tampa? You get strategy, you get wins, and you get constant come up short. Sometimes the it factor, there's got to be some heart, man. There's got to be some passion. Numbers, data isn't always just going to be it. It's just not. You got to have passion. You got to have heart. You got to have love. You got to have certain things. You can't look at Bregman. Here's a great example. You can't look at Bregman. I was in line in Arizona for a bus to go get a rent-a-car this past year at spring training. And we're in this long line. And if you ever had to travel with Cody or be with Cody, Cody is going to bring up stuff that's just out of nowhere. Do you remember what you said to me in Arizona?
I do not, actually. That was forever ago.
You randomly wanted to bring up, who do you want, Jose Ramirez or Bregman?
Oh, yeah. Now I remember bringing that up. Yes.
We're in line, backpacks on, gear. We're in line to get on a bus to go get a rent-a-car, and this is what he's talking to me about in line. Tell everybody how you crapped on Bregman.
I did, but I forget what we were talking about and why I brought it up. I think it was comparing their numbers over the last few years.
We're comparing his postseason numbers.
No, we were looking at the number. I think it was either the rankings at third base or something. And it was,
you weren't comparing his postseason numbers.
No, not at all.
By the way, and it totally not fair in the context of history of the game because they play way more games. But with that said, which third baseman has the most RBIs in the history of the postseason?
Is it Bregman?
No third baseman has more RBIs than Bregman. Is that something is that going to be on? Where's that on your spreadsheet? You don't think Bregman brings heart? You don't think he brings passion? You don't think Altuve, even though Altuve's slumping like, God, was he 0 for 26 or something like that?
Yeah, then he finally got hit. Yeah.
I mean, did you hear Verlander after saying, man, I'm married now, I have kids, I have a new appreciation for this. I'm trying to like slow it down and enjoy it more. I'm a different person now that I have kids. I'm 39 years old and I have kids. Verlander's a different guy than when he pitched against us. There's something to this, man. There's a reason why teams win. And if you're not bringing that heart, that joy, that passion, and I kind of think back, where the hell was that with our teams? Where was our teams cared, but we didn't have that. Did we ever have, like, what you're seeing with Philly or Houston, did we have that?
No, not that I remember.
I don't either. I know our players loved each other. I know they really worked hard. I know we were great on defense. We hit home runs. I know they tried like hell. They just didn't have it. We never had it. Like Philly's got it. Houston obviously has it. But Houston's got players that are just gamers. Houston's tough. They've got the ingredients that you need. Nowhere did I see in those 4 games did you see anybody other than Harrison Bader who looked like a baller for the Yankees. That's when you know you're screwed, is when Harrison Bader is the one guy that shows up. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're right. What, he had 5 home runs in the series or 5 home runs?
Like, you could barely beat the Indians in 5.
Guardian.
And I agree with Randy. I was like, pitch Bieber. You barely could beat the Indians in 5, and then you got swept. Who looked like a baller for the Yankees? One guy. And you mentioned Rizzo did some things. But who was their best player in the playoffs, the Yankees?
Harrison Bader.
If you tell me Harrison Bader is going to be the best player for the Yankees, do you think they're going to win a World Series?
No. He's a nice player, but he's not. He can't be your best player.
And Aaron Judge is going to tell me he wants $400 million and he's leaving? And Harrison Bader, who was hurt when we traded for him. I'm a Yankee fan. I'm like, we traded for this guy who was hurt. It was an awful trade. Montgomery goes on to St. Louis, and he's dealing. And all of a sudden, Harrison Bader shows up, and he's our best player? You got problems, man. You got problems when Harrison Bader's your best player. I mean, we could pick apart L.A. went out like chumps. Basically, I still have all this information we didn't get to because of our technical difficulty. I still got all this information to how everybody was telling us how the Dodgers and the Yankees were 2 of the most historic teams to have ever played, and they both went out like chumps. Yankees went out like chumps. Dodgers went out like chumps, and their fans are still whining about, the playoffs, and we had a bye. They went out like chumps. They didn't go out like fighters. They went out like chumps.
Astros had a bye, and they haven't lost a game yet.
Undefeated.
Yeah, haven't lost a game.
You have 2 sides. You had Philly playing do or die games for now a while. They're in it, and a team that just rolled everybody and rolled through the playoffs. You got one team that's a super analytic team versus a team that's not. You got 2 sides of it playing in this World Series. Fascinating. What happens if Philly wins? Can you imagine that? Imagine if Philly wins everything that's gone on. Now you're going to know why front offices want to call it a crapshoot. That's why I would love to see Philly, not only because I hate Houston, but I'd love to see Philly win because all of a sudden you go, wait a minute. Nationals won, Braves won, Phillies won. Teams that win the ring are not teams that are perfectly put together on a stat sheet. I don't want to say stat sheet, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All your analytics, all the money you spent on analytics, and Philly wins it. A team that's a band of misfit toys wins it because you can't put heart on paper, man. You can't put the it factor on paper. You can't. They're trying to win everything from not on the field. They're trying to win everything from their offices. That's where football's great. Nobody in football thinks winning football from the office. They know you got to block, you got to tackle. There's certain things you have to do to win football games. And at the end of the day, you better be tougher than the guy across from you. If you're not tougher and willing to go deeper than the guy across from you, you will not win. You can have every God blank stat data point you want. You can't win at the line of scrimmage with toughness if you can't win, if your offensive line, if your defensive line, if your linebackers, if you can't exude your toughness on somebody else in football, you will not win. That's what I love about football. Yeah, you can have analytics all you want, but there are certain things that you have to do. Baseball wants to win everything from their offices and their computers. Would you admit, Cody, if Philly wins that, this is going to be a slap in the face?
Oh yeah, and Dombrowski's a guy that wants to win at all costs, and he hasn't really traded away any Phillies top prospects like he normally does with the guys in Boston and Detroit. But they have talent, and they signed Schwarber, and Harper's living up. They're a great story. Now, do I think they're going to win? No, spoiler.
No,
I
haven't even looked at it. Houston has to be a huge favorite, +2 something.
Yeah, I mean you're gonna get their top two pitchers games 1 and 2 because they're gonna be there's 4 days off until Friday.
You just got to win one in Houston.
Yeah, so you're gonna go up against Verlander and Framber Valdez. So you got to get to one of those guys. Valdez has looked great, where Verlander hasn't. He was really bad in the series against the Mariners, but he was really good in his second start. So we'll see which Verlander shows up, and I'm pretty sure he'll probably pitch game 1.
Where are we? How hard is it to find the odds, for God's sakes? I don't see it.
Maybe they haven't released the lines yet.
They had to have. Let's see if the Athletic has it. Phillies take the underdog. Phillies ready to take on -155. Wow, I thought it'd be bigger than that. All righty. Well, Houston's a favorite, no question. I'm excited. You know what? Houston wins. It's going to be redemption and all that kind of crap. But if Houston doesn't win and Philly wins, it's going to make our trip to the winter meetings a lot more interesting. Because you're going to be staring all these people right in the face. We're going to have all these interviews and go, funny at the end of it all, they're the ones standing. Isn't it funny? I'll love it. It'll be the best. All right, what do we got on Wednesday? We've gone way over. What do we got on Wednesday?
We're going to have Scott Fransky, the voice of the Phillies. I'm going to try to reschedule Larry Boa for Wednesday. We have I don't know how my guest. Hold on, let me get the guest thing pulled up real quick. We will have June Lee from ESPN. He was covering the Yankees and Astros, but he does national baseball for ESPN. And then we're gonna have Danny Vietti from CBS Sports. He's supposed to be today, but I moved him to Wednesday because we had Randy Miller come on talk about the Yankees.
All righty. Don't forget, Chicken Pie Shop on Friday in Walnut Creek. You see down there, if you're listening, that's 1251 Arroyo Way. Chicken Pie Shop, Walnut Creek. We'll be on from 1 to 5, and then we're going to watch the World Series. Great food, great drinks, prizes, the whole thing. Thank you for listening, everybody. We'll be back on Wednesday at 1 o'clock.
Secure your seats for our 1973 team reunion celebration on Sunday, April 16th.